I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. Of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is.
All right, we are back in the building. It's Friday, y'all. We made it to another Friday. Hopefully y'all are doing well. You know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Oh my God. We are looking all crispy and clean on the screen this Friday morning, heading into another weekend. Hopefully y'all are doing great, man. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats, patreon.com/ClassE Beats, by the way. Make sure you check it out. Link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. We got a great show for y'all today. Sure, as many of y'all have heard, Judge Whitaker, she is on fire. Shout out to Judge Whitaker. She is not playing around. She gave a response to the DA's office. We're going to get into it here in a second. If you guys haven't seen it yet, and we're going to talk about what went on there and why most likely she said, we ain't doing that. Also, we're going to get into, of course, the TAY trial, and then we've got some updates. Hopefully we'll get to YNW Melly today. We should have enough time, but court is already starting, so we're getting that to in a second. But I want to start out with Judge Whitaker. Before I do, I have to say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Y'all know what time it is. Of course, my awesome, amazing Amy is up in here bright and early. She says, like the video, y'all. I appreciate you, Amy. Hey, and y'all make sure you go subscribe to Amy's YouTube channel. The link is in the description. She just had her first viral video. It's going absolutely insane and she's killing it over there. So make sure y'all go subscribe to Amy's YouTube channel. So proud of you. So happy for you, Amy. We've got Michi in the building. Les Cleaver is in here as well. Shout out to Les. We got A Fits. Shout out to Kara Hampton's in here, Trisha Valencia, Jay Buckmaster, my guy. We got Mo Mac back in here, Tatum, Libby 22, SC girls in the building. Derek is back at it. Good to see you in here, Derek, my guy. Appreciate you. And shout out to everyone else that's in the building too. I see Nikki in here too. If y'all could, please make sure you do me one favor. I don't ask for much on this show, but what I do ask is that you like the video on your way in. Not only is it free, not only does it let the algorithm know that you guys are enjoying the show, but it shares the video out with more people. It helps us to continue to grow, and it helps people know that we're live here, and it brings them on in and brings them over. So I appreciate everybody who's done that so far too. Brown Sugar Babe is in the building. Shout out to Brown Sugar Babe. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a member too. Shout out to all the members in the building. All right, I know y'all are ready to get to it. So let's go ahead and get into YSL Whitaker.
These niggas lacking.
I am so excited that Judge Whitaker responded quickly when it comes to Fani Willis and the DA's office and their absolutely BS motion to revoke Young Thug's probation. So Judge Whitaker, she saw what was going down. Obviously her office saw that, and she responded in less than 24 hours to what the DA's office was alleging. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, I'll get into the actual initial motion here in a second. But basically, to give you an overview, Young Thug was on social media. He was responding to a couple things that were being said about super detective investigator, super stalker Viverito, right? Viverito is on the stand in another case, and apparently a picture of her was posted that wasn't from the trial. Young Thug commented on it. He also commented on a post by Thugger Daily where he said that Detective Viverito is the biggest liar in the DA's office. All right. So obviously Viverito most likely saw that. Fani Willis's office saw that, and they said, nope, that's a violation. We don't like that. So they went to Judge Whitaker. They filed a motion and said he's violating his probation, because after Young Thug did that, a lot of people were commenting on it. They're saying, yeah, this is crazy. Viverito's family's home address got leaked. Her address got leaked. There were even people who were saying stupid stuff in the comments like Fani Willis should be assassinated. Absolutely insane. So now here we are. Brian Steele responded. We did a video on that. If y'all haven't seen it, check it out. Brian Steele gave a great response, and he said, Judge Whitaker, even if Young Thug had done everything the DA's office had accused him of, it's not a violation of his probation. He's just saying that he feels like Viverito is a liar. He's allowed to do that. And Judge Whitaker says here that she agreed. What does Judge Whitaker say? Order continuing defendant's probation. That's a win already in the title. Shout out to YSL Whitaker. She says, upon consideration of the state's April 2nd, 2025 motion to revoke the defendant's probation, which alleges a violation of the terms and conditions of the defendant's probation for having posted a picture, that's not totally true, but having posted a picture of a particular law enforcement officer with the caption, biggest liar in the DA's office. You might be right. And the defendant's April 3rd, 2025 response thereto, and having reviewed the terms and conditions of the defendant's probation imposed by this court, the court declines to revoke the defendant's probation based on the violation asserted. Shout out to YSL Whitaker in the building, doing the right thing. It's very clear. And even parts of this, she says he posted it. I don't know if that's technically true. I guess if you retweet something, it's considered a post. So we won't pick and choose here. We get the point that she's saying. And this is the part that I love about Judge Whitaker. And y'all hear me do it here on this channel. I always hold people accountable, no matter on what side they are. A lot of people who watch the channel say, oh, you're always siding with the criminal, the alleged criminal, because we believe that you're innocent until proven guilty here. And that's not the case, because I had smoke for the Young Thug and smoke for the DA's office on this. I said, Young Thug, why are you even on X commenting on stuff about the DA's office? You need any posts that's made about the DA's office, you just need to avoid it, because again, you know they're watching. You know they're looking for any misstep that you might have. And one day it might be seen differently. So anyway, the reason I love Judge Whitaker is because of what she says in this footnote in this order. And it's absolutely amazing. I wish we could have got to hear it in an actual hearing, but nonetheless, she went right where I thought she would. She says, while the court does not find that the cited social media post rises to the level of violation of the defendant's probation, here it is, it may be prudent for the defendant to exercise restraint regarding certain topics. Didn't we say this all day yesterday? And even some people in our own comment section and in our own chat were giving me, you know what, for that, saying, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. Oh, Young Thug, he's just exercising his rights. Yeah, he is. But y'all heard what Judge Whitaker just said to him. Hey, man, exercise some restraint. It's not worth it. You see what the DA's office is doing. Just Thug, leave it alone. You don't benefit anything from commenting on this. Do you have a right to? Maybe. It's arguable. But when you look at these probation terms, it's best, and it's smart to refrain for just commenting on it. So shout out to Judge Whitaker again. Absolutely amazing ruling. And I think it's great that she did it so quick, because she's really calling out the district attorney's office here and saying y'all was on some major BS. Well, speaking of, I got to go back and highlight a couple of things in the state's motion, because if y'all didn't see it, it's absolutely insane, especially how they define what happened and what Young Thug actually did. Listen to what they say. Escalating threats and witness intimidation. Investigator Marissa Viverito is currently testifying in a multi-defendant gang preliminary hearing, which remains ongoing and is set to reconvene this coming Monday. During that hearing, the court explicitly ordered, Brian Steele said they didn't order Young Thug, they just ordered anyone who was there. They explicitly ordered that the witness not be shown on television while testifying. Despite this order, a known blogger deliberately violated the court's directive by posting on social media she doesn't want to be shown on screen. Well, here she is, along with the photograph of Investigator Viverito. The way they phrase this is just wrong. Because the way they phrase this, as someone who hadn't seen the video from the known blogger, it made me think that they showed the person on the stand and they completely went against and violated the order. We find out from Brian Steele, as he actually defended the known blogger in his response, that wasn't the case and it was all made up, and that of course the DA's office lied, right? What else did they say? On Tuesday, April 1st, Young Thug amplified this act by reposting the image with the caption, Marissa Viverito is the biggest liar in the DA's office. Again, another lie. They put this in quotation marks here, and that's not even what the post says. All right, look at this. We can actually go down and see the exhibits, and we talked about this the other day. If you look at the exhibit here, it does not say Marissa Viverito. It just says biggest liar in the DA's office. And of course, Fannie Willis, she's putting it out there that he actually said that in quote, which is not true. Again, this post quickly went viral, amassing over 2 million views with thousands of comments and retweets, many of which included direct threats to investigator Viverito and her family. Nothing to do with Young Thug. What were those direct threats that they're claiming? As a direct consequence of these social media posts, Viverito's home address and her parents' home address were publicly posted, exposing them to grave danger. This is stupid, and I hope whoever did this, I hope they get arrested and convicted to the fullest extent of the law. You shouldn't be doing this to people just because you don't like them or what they're doing. That's crazy. One post stated, if the hate is really real, then pull up on her mama crib alongside a photograph of her mother's residence. Again, arrest this person, put them in jail for being dumb, just for straight stupidity. Hours later, an additional post emerged threatening the assassination of District Attorney Fannie Willis. Again, lock this person up, find them, whatever you need to do, because this is dumb. But it's not Young Thug's fault, as we said before. The escalation from targeting a testifying witness to making a direct death threat against the elected district attorney of Fulton County is a grave and unprecedented attack on our justice system. No, this motion is an attack on our justice system. Probation is an attack on the justice system, because God, probation is terrible. And then, of course, they call her YSL Whitaker here. I wish they would have actually told us where they got this from, because they say YSL Whitaker, but they don't actually say where that came from. These efforts have also included attempts to exploit the court's perceived stance of disdain toward the state by referring to Your Honor as YSL Whitaker. Who said that? Where did they get this from? Anyway, that's the BS from the DA's office. Judge Whitaker, again, you proved that
These niggas lacking.
and you made the right choice. I appreciate you. I wish I want to get Judge Whitaker on the channel to possibly do an interview and talk to her about some of the things that are going on here in Fulton County, but I know that would be tough to do. But if y'all want to help make it happen, just tag Judge Whitaker on social media, on any posts, see if she wants to come over to the channel. I've made too much of I think a stance against the current DA's office for her to actually come onto this platform and do an interview. But hey, you never know what would happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Man, shout out to YSL Whitaker, man. And I promise, Judge Whitaker, I won't call you YSL Whitaker if you come up here. We love Judge Whitaker over here, man. She's amazing. And I think, and it's not because Judge Whitaker made the decisions that we all would have, she made the rulings that we all would have liked all the time. It's because when I first saw her take the stand and I first found out who she was, we got to see how she was conducting herself in court. Y'all could go back and check the receipts. I said, this is going to be a good judge. She just wants to get through this trial. She wants to make sure it's clean. She wants the state to do their job. She wants the defense to do their job. And she wants to get to the ruling and the jury verdict at the end. And Judge Whitaker showed that she does not play around and she's very good at what she does. So a lot of respect to her. Shout out to Judge Whitaker. All right, here we go. We got some super chats and then we're going to keep it moving because we got a lot to get to, y'all. Shout out to Les Cleaver. He says, for all in severe weather events in our country today and this weekend, God bless you all, CEB family. Thank you, Les Cleaver, for the 5 bomb. And then Amy's up in here gifting 5 memberships. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Amy over there. If you got a membership from Amy, please make sure you say thank you. She's in here every single show, showing love and support, interacting with y'all in the chat, cutting up. And I appreciate everything that you do, Amy. So thank you so much for the support. And make sure y'all say thank you for the membership if you got one. These judges roam the community and seen proof what's going on in the community. Oh, absolutely, for sure. She's better than Comfort Break Glanville. Yeah, Judge Glanville's never coming over here. Amy is the best. Thank you, Amy. Judge Whitaker kept it real. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Judge Whitaker was great. We got to get her over here. I would love to see DA Love on the show where you can give her an IQ test. I told y'all I got to interact with Miss Love, and my interaction with her, it was a professional, great experience. Y'all know I served on a grand jury here in Fulton County for several months and got to work very closely with DA Love and the DA's office at their time. And there are some great people over there at the DA's office. But when we talk about the head of the snake, not so much. Cash Money Cass is in here. Hey, if y'all don't follow Cash Money Cass, she has some amazing videos. I don't want to show her videos here because I want her to get the full credit for the work she puts into these videos, but she is absolutely hilarious in her I don't want to, what's the right word, impersonation of Judge Whitaker. Those videos are so funny. She posted one yesterday. It had me laughing like crazy. So make sure y'all go check out Cash Money Cass over there, doing some amazing work, amazing content too. Shout out to J Love in the building. They don't care about the actual threats. That's true. Thug didn't threaten them. A hit dog will holler. Fanny drawing attention to herself when she should be laying low after she was seen with her BF at the airport. Exactly. I wonder if she's still paying for vacay. Yeah, how did they get that interview? I thought Fannie Willis was out of the country. Did she fly back just so she could sign this? Oh man. Yeah, shout out to Cash Money Cass. Let me know where you want me to send people to find your content. I don't know. Should I send them to X? Should I send them to TikTok? Let me know. Your YouTube channel. Let me know so I can get people to the right place because your videos are absolutely hilarious. So shout out to Cash Money Cass up in here. All right, we're going to keep it moving. We are going to go ahead and get back into the testimony from day 3 when it comes to the TAY trial. We got a lot of testimony to get to, so I want to make sure we get that. And then we're going to go ahead and jump right into day 4, which is going to be going on here shortly. All right, y'all check it out. Oh, okay. And Cash Money Cass says, check her out on TikTok or X. Okay, we'll find the link, Cash Money Cass, and we'll drop it in the chat for you as well. Y'all make sure you go check her out. All right, email her. I would imagine talking about Judge Whitaker. Best way I know to reach out to her. Yep, Amy was just saying that the other day. Just email Judge Whitaker. She checks her email. Tell her we love her over here. All right, here we go. We're getting into TAY Day 3 testimony. Let's get it. If my video will play. Hold on. There we go.
If you can raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jurors can hear. And if you will state your name and spell your last name, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Robert Mount, last name M-O-U-N-T.
Next state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Is it Sergeant Mount now?
Yes, sir.
And are you employed by the SAPD?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been employed by the SAPD?
14 years. Next month will be 15.
And well, congratulations on 15.
I appreciate it.
It's awesome. Thank you for your
And
service.
I'm assuming you go about becoming an SAPD officer, you have to go through certain training. What type of training, briefly, did you have to go through to become an SAPD just officer?
Yes, sir. So I went to the San Antonio Police Department's Training Academy, and during the academy became a state certified peace officer through the state of Texas. And during that training, we went over various topics such as the Texas Penal Code, the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, and the San Antonio Police Department's General Manual, which goes over policies and procedures.
And again, you stated you've been with the SAPD for 14 years.
Yes, sir.
And when you initially joined up, you were a patrol officer or just an officer, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then is there anything in between an officer and a sergeant?
Yes, sir. So it was about 4 years in, I became a field training officer, and at that point, I was responsible for training new officers out of the academy.
And can you describe to the jury what a field training officer is?
Sure. So a field training officer, essentially officers will go through the training academy. Once they graduate, they have to ride in the field with a field training officer for a period of time. And they go through different phases of training. And then once they get through those phases of training, they're evaluated, and then they're released on their own as long as they pass those different phases.
So a field training officer is somebody that assists other officers in I guess, their duties.
Yes, sir.
And in a sense, trains them.
Yes, sir.
And is that commonly referred to as FTO?
Yes, sir.
And after you became FTO, then you become the sergeant. And how long have you been a sergeant?
In between there, I was a
I love
family violence
San
detective,
Antonio.
and then I became a supervisor sergeant. And I've been a sergeant since October of 23.
Thank you. I'd like to reference April 23rd, 2017, roughly a little after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why you're here today.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall that day?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall being dispatched to a certain location in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
And what location was that, and why were you dispatched?
We received a call for a shooting in progress, and we went to the location of 410 in McCullough, is where the calls were coming out.
And when you arrived at this location, well, one, what are your initial duties at that time?
So for us at that point, acting in the capacity of a training officer, our job basically, we were taking report responsibility. So when we got there, we were trying to gather information that was needed in order to establish, number one, whether or not a crime was committed, try to get the elements of the offense, and try to determine what evidence may or may not be available.
And you stated we. Do you mean all the officers at the scene, or did you describe to the jury what you mean by that?
Sure. So I was riding as a front seat passenger. I had Officer Chase Thackerson. He was riding with me at that time. And so we went to that location so that way he would be able to handle that incident.
And were you just riding along with him, or were you had other duties associated to you with Thackerson?
Sure. So I was evaluating him and what he was doing. And so I was acting in the capacity as a field training officer on that date.
So exactly what you just described to the jury about the FTO.
Yes, sir.
And so when you did arrive at the scene, what did you specifically do as you arrived?
So when we first arrived on scene, I observed that there was a complainant that was apparently deceased in the parking lot of the Chick-fil-A. And when I had gotten there, I observed that there were other various people in the area. And typically when we have somebody that passes away, just out of respect, we try to cover that person. And so I got with one of the emergency medical technicians from the San Antonio Fire Department and asked if they had a yellow sheet so that way we could cover the complainant.
And did you obtain that yellow sheet?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do with that yellow sheet?
I took the yellow sheet and we covered the complainant so that way he wasn't exposed in the parking lot for all the passerbys. And we're right there on the 410 access road, so we wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be an unnecessary distraction, but try to limit the number of onlookers that would naturally go to that type of call.
And I guess, did media ever show up at the scene?
I don't recall seeing the media. I believe the supervisor at the time might have spoken with somebody, but I don't recall seeing the media.
But you yourself did not speak to any media or anyone?
Correct.
And were there any, you stated other individuals at the scene, were there any other people of interest, such as witnesses at the scene?
Sure. So there were witnesses that were already separated at the scene by the time that we had gotten there, and I had advised Officer Thackerson that we needed to try to get the general circumstances of what happened. So we needed to identify which witnesses might have had a thorough account of the event, so that way we could give the homicide unit a good starting point for their investigation.
So I guess initially y'all speak with some of these witnesses.
Officer Thackerson did.
And were you present during some of these individuals speaking with Officer Thackerson?
I was there, yes, sir.
And as you progress through there, are there any other duties associated with this scene?
As far as searching for any additional evidence and things like that, when I arrived, I asked one of the officers that was already there if they had found any shell casings. It was believed that this individual had been shot, and I asked if they had found anything, and I didn't get an answer, and so I wanted to go look for myself to see if I could locate anything. So that's when I went over towards where the complainant was in the parking lot and started looking around to see if I could find a shell casing. And then at that point, one of the CSIs had shown up, Catherine, and when she got there, I guess her eyes are better than mine, she immediately saw a casing that was on the ground that fell into a crack near where the deceased was at.
And subsequently, did you view that shell casing that she had pointed out?
Yes, sir.
And did you do anything, well, one, did you collect that shell casing?
I did not, no, sir.
Well, one, is that one of your duties is to collect evidence at the scene?
No, sir, that would be for the crime scene investigators.
And did you ever, the shell casing, were you able to identify anything on it?
Sure, so I kneeled down next to where the casing was located so I could try to read the head stamp because I wanted to see if we could identify what caliber of weapon was used. If it was, in this particular circumstance when I kneeled down, I was able to read that it was a Blazer Luger 9mm round.
And is that I guess a caliber of a round?
Yes, sir, it's a 9mm round, and Blazer is just the manufacturer.
And at that point, after that, were you tasked with any other duties?
It's just general oversight of what Officer Thackerson was doing, making sure that if he had any questions, I was there to answer him. By the time that he gets to me and his training, he's getting ready to be released on his own, so he knows generally what to do. So I'm more of an oversight just to try to see what he's doing, if we need to correct anything. He was generally doing everything that he needed to be done. But then while we were waiting for, I don't know if the homicide investigator had already gotten there or not, but then I know the manager of the Chick-fil-A had shown up, and I briefly went to speak with him because he claimed that he had video surveillance that would have captured the parking lot area where the complainant was located.
And so
I wonder if they must have called the manager and asked him to come out there, because Chick-fil-A, it was on a Sunday and Chick-fil-A was closed. So how did they get there so quick? That's wild. But
did you ever view this video at that time?
Yes, sir. We went inside the location and he was able to access it on his laptop.
And with your own visible eyes, you were able to view the video that he had of the location or the area?
Yes, sir.
And did y'all see anything of interest on this video?
Yes, sir.
What do you remember seeing on the video?
So the laptop, the screen was fairly small, but from what we could see, you could see a black car enter the parking lot of the Chick-fil-A. It appeared the complainant was on the hood of the car, and then the front passenger exits the vehicle, and he appeared to have a white shirt, and then you see the complainant fall off the hood of the vehicle, and then the black car takes off. The passenger got back in the car, and then the vehicle takes off behind the Chick-fil-A.
So at that time, did y'all at least have a suspect vehicle?
Yes, sir. We knew it was a black four-door sedan.
And were you aware of what, I guess, not model, but I guess model or brand or?
There was some different information on make, model, and so we didn't definitively know. From what we could see on the camera, mind you, it was a distorted view, so it wasn't 100% clear on what the make or model of that vehicle was, but we were just trying to get a best guess at that point so we could have officers be on the lookout for that particular vehicle.
And What, did you write a report for this incident?
No, sir. Officer Thackerson documented everything.
And why would you have not written a report?
Right. So, as a field training officer, generally the officer that's handling the report, the probationary in this case, he includes that we were with him in this particular incident, but he's doing everything. He's interviewing the witnesses. He's handling the workload, and I'm just observing at this point. If it was earlier in his phase of training, I would have been more hands-on with him, but he's towards the end, getting ready to be released on his own. And so at that point, he's handling most of the responsibilities.
So at the time back in when this incident happened, would you have reviewed his report?
Yes, sir. So generally what happens, and in this case, we went down to the homicide offices, and before his report was submitted, we had the homicide investigator, he reviewed it, and I reviewed it as well.
And I'm
Probably
going
gonna
to
see
ask
some
you, well, when did you
inconsistencies.
review it for, before this time, of the last, say, 2 months or so, for this trial?
Yes, sir.
And that was Officer Chase Thackerson's report?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall the SAPD number associated with this case?
I don't recall the full case number, no, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been marked State Exhibit number 18. And if you don't mind, just flip through there and tell me if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. This is the report that Officer Thackerson wrote.
Thank you. And on this report, is there an SAPD number associated with the case?
Yes, sir.
And can you please tell me what that SAPD number is?
Yes, sir. It's case number SAPD 17089350.
Thank you. Now, everything that you just testified to, was that something that would have been, well, one, I guess I should ask this first. Did you have a body-worn camera on this particular day?
Yes, sir.
And everything that you just testified to, would it have been depicted on these, on this body-worn cam?
Yes, sir.
Can we see the body cam footage, please?
I'm going to show you what's marked State Exhibit number 19 and number 20. If you can just look at that, if you need to take them out of the envelope, that's fine. If you can identify that and let me
I'm
know.
ready to see some
Yes, sir.
body cam. I don't
And
know about y'all.
how are you able to identify these discs?
I've put my identifying information on both of these discs.
And have you viewed both of these discs?
Yes, sir.
And do they fairly and accurately represent your body-worn camera that day?
Yes, sir.
And the only difference between these discs and the ones that you, well, I guess the camera, is that these don't have audio. Is that correct?
Correct. These have been muted.
Okay. And let me ask you this. There's two of them, and I think we discussed this before. Why are there two discs?
At one point, I had gone to use the restroom, and for obvious reasons, I had turned the camera off while I was in the bathroom.
And so that's why we have two different.
Yes, sir.
obviously.
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you this. When you went to the restroom,
videos,
was it earlier on in the investigation of you at the scene, or was it later on?
It was towards the end when we were inside the Chick-fil-A. The manager was there to review the video.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, the state offers State Exhibit number 19 and 20. Will tender to the defense for any objection?
No objection.
State Exhibit 19 and 20 are good.
And maybe published, Your Honor?
Yes.
And again, Your Honor, we're going to be doing this from the hard drive of the computer for purposes of time. And if there's no objection, it's the exact copy of what we have on the disc.
That's fine.
Thank you. And for the purposes of the record, I am going to start this at the VLC 727.
Sorry, y'all. I really hope they let us see the body cam footage. Only thing we got to see so far is the diagram.
requested a yellow sheet from the, I guess, the fire department.
Yes, sir.
And is that the yellow sheet that we saw in this this video?
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, hold on a second. Don't do this to me, YouTube. Y'all bear with me. Hold on. We're going to get it. Here we go. Oh no, what happened? Hold on, we're having some technical difficulties, y'all. Give me 1 second. We'll figure it out. Tia said, thanks, officer, for turning off the camera while you're on the toilet. Oh, dang. Yeah, we don't want to see that. What is going on here?
I paused it, or rather, my co-counsel, Ms. Valley, has paused it at 10:14 BLC. Is there anything in this video that is of interest?
Yes, sir.
And what would that be?
The casing that I eventually it was called attention to is actually in the crack or the crevice right there next to the victim.
And I'm going to point out that you're saying this area right here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and fast forward it at this point, Judge, just for time. To 12:52. This particular report, what are, or scene of your body cam, what are y'all doing at this point?
At this point, going over the case with Officer Thackerson, just trying to make sure that we're getting everything done that's needed to be done.
And the person to the right in this video?
That was one of the...
I don't know why we're having trouble with this video today.
Done that's going...
or scene of your body cam, what are y'all doing at this point?
At this point, going over the case with Officer Thackerson, just trying to make sure that we're getting everything done that's needed to be done.
And the person to the right in this video?
That was one of the...
All right, let me try and fix this. I apologize, y'all. This is not how we want to do it. Hold on. We're going to get it right this time. I think I see what's going on here.
done that's
We're going to go ahead and fast forward it at this point, Judge, just for time.
Yeah, and I don't know why they're not showing us the
12.
footage either.
12:52.
That's kind of annoying.
This particular report, or scene of your body cam, what are y'all doing at this point?
at this point going over the case with Officer Thackerson, just trying to make sure that we're getting everything done that's needed to be done.
And the person to the right in this video?
That was one of the witnesses that was identified and that he had spoken with.
Go ahead and fast forward to 14:14.
Was called attention to is actually in the crack or the crevice right there next to the victim.
And I'm going to point out that you're saying this area right here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Maybe it's a sign we need to skip this testimony. Y'all think YouTube's having an issue? It's probably me. I'm probably doing too much.
We're going to go ahead and fast forward it at this point, Judge, just for time. To 12:52. This particular report, or scene of your body cam, what are y'all doing at this point?
At this point, going over the case with Officer Thackerson, just trying to make sure that we're getting everything done that's needed to be done.
Thank y'all for
And
hanging
the
in
person to
there.
the
We're gonna
right in
get it
this
right.
video?
That was one of the witnesses that was identified and that he had spoken with.
Go ahead and fast forward to 14:14.
And there's still 400 of y'all in here, almost
14,
500.
13.
Thank y'all for hanging
And
in.
again, this is another scene in the video. What are y'all doing here?
It's Officer Crystal Estrada, and she's talking with another witness that was there.
I'm going to fast forward it at this point. 23:27. And who is that individual in the blue shirt?
Detective Flores?
And it was do you know if that was the handling detective of this incident?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're back.
I'm going to fast forward to 33:55. And again, I guess this is very similar to some of the other scenes, but can you describe to the jury what we're looking at here?
I believe this is us just generally discussing how we're going to handle everything. That's Officer Sandra Chapa. And it's just a general overview of what we're going to do, what we've discovered, and how we're going to go about documenting everything.
Thank you. And we fast forward to 43:11.
We can't see it, y'all. Man, that's dirty. I don't know why they're doing this.
What do
Like
you-
Anybody had found a casing, and one hadn't been located yet. And so at this point, I went back to try to see if we could locate anything. And when the CSI, Catherine, she had shown up, she actually pointed out fairly quickly where it was located in the crack on the ground.
And I see somebody to the left of this video. Who would that be? Sorry, I don't know if you noticed it.
I'm sorry.
This individual right here. We paused it at
That's-
4425. The individual, I guess, on the right-hand side.
That appears to be CSI Kimberly Wong.
And, okay, thank you.
She was wrong for that. When are we gonna hear from Kimberly Wong? They've been talking about her a lot.
Sorry. We paused it at 4434. What are you doing in this scene right here?
That's when I kneeled down so I could read the head stamp, basically the imprints or the markings that are on the casing, and that's where I was able to see that it was a Blazer Luger 9mm round.
Go ahead and proceed. We're going to start it back at 4914. And we paused it at 4917. The person bending down next to the yellow tarp where the victim is, do you know who that is?
CSI Kimberly Wong.
Kimberly Wong. Uh-oh. Now the body cam footage would be publicly
We're gonna pause it at
available.
4940. There was 3 individuals in this, but I'm
There it
interested
is.
in the
Now we
individual
got
to
it.
the left. Looks like wearing a badge and
Finally.
SCVD. What is he holding in his hand?
That's Detective Matthew Flores, and I believe he's got a camera in his hand.
Yep, we just had to be patient. I'm so impatient, man. I want to see it already.
We start playing this at 1 hour or 1:45:52, and now we obviously jumped a large portion. Do you recall how long y'all were at that scene for?
The exact time frame, I'm not sure. It was probably a couple hours.
And this portion at 1:45:52, and we're going to start playing it. Who is this individual?
That was the manager of that Chick-fil-A location who arrived to try to access the video surveillance.
Shout out to the manager.
And we fast forward to 1:54:00, and it's playing. And is this when y'all are accessing the video of the Chick-fil-A?
Yes, sir.
And this is what you stated earlier in testimony that you viewed about the black vehicle or car. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
No, go back. Come on now.
I'll show you what's been marked state exhibit number 21 and 22. One, can you just look at those and tell me if you can identify those?
Yes, sir.
And state exhibit number 21 and 22, what are they?
There are still images from my body-worn camera that I was wearing.
And are these a fair and accurate representation of what you saw that day?
Yes, sir.
And is a fair and accurate representation of the shell casing you saw that day?
Yes.
Your Honor will offer state exhibit number 21 and 22 to the defense for any objections.
No objections.
All right, states exhibits 21 and 22 are admitted.
Judge, may I publish?
Yes, sir.
Y'all can publish as long as you show us what we're publishing.
And this is state exhibit number 21 that's zoomed in on the overhead projector here. You're stating that right there was that shell casing that you found later?
Yes, sir.
And this was on, I guess, what time do we call that right there?
Military time?
Is that military or Zulu? All right, but this was on the VLC, is that 1014 on that VLC player?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then this is state exhibit number 22. And does that show that same shell casing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. At this time, Your Honor, we'll pass the witness.
See, John?
Yes.
There you go.
Good afternoon, Sergeant. How are you?
Jim,
doing
I
well,
can't
how
see
are you,
your
sir?
evidence,
Well,
Your
thank
Honor.
In the photographs that the state just showed you, I couldn't quite tell. Did you physically touch the 9mm shell casing?
No, sir. I just kneeled down so I could get a better look at the head sample.
Okay. And I assume the reason you didn't pick it up and look at it is because you know that it would be important to check and see if there are fingerprints on that casing? Right?
Yes, sir. It was going to have to be processed.
And potentially touch DNA, skin cells left on the shell casing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you didn't pick it up, I gather you didn't smell the shell casing to see if it was fresh burnt powder?
No, sir.
And, I mean, you've been an officer with SAPD 14 years. It's not uncommon to find spent shell casings lying around all over the place in San Antonio, right?
Correct.
And you looked at the head stamp and you noted that it was a Blazer Luger 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned that you were sort of supervising and at the end stages of training up another officer who was in field training status, right?
Yes, sir.
And we see at different points on the video you interacting with that field training officer, and I gather you're giving him advice.
Yes, sir.
You, in particular, talked to him about the importance of delegating responsibility at a crime scene this large.
Yes, sir.
Because there are several witnesses, many eyewitnesses, and if you were making one officer ask all those people questions, it would take all day, right?
Yes, sir.
So because of that delegation, I guess there is, of course, a risk that some people don't get spoken to because you can't be watching what everyone else is doing while you're asking questions, right?
It's a possibility.
Can we pull up this video at 24:55?
And can we see it, please?
Yes. Is that at 20? That's 21. So that gentleman you're speaking with there, do you recall his name?
I would have to refer to the report.
Okay. Do you have that report with you?
Yes, sir.
Would you mind checking for me? Refresh your memory if you can.
I believe that's Mr. Michael Arrington.
Okay. You identified Ms. Wong on the footage, correct?
Yes, sir.
She's an evidence technician?
She was at that time, yes, sir.
Okay. And did you see her physically collect the shell case?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So you don't know whether she followed the protocols that would be needed or not?
I didn't observe her, I don't believe.
I'm sure they're gonna ask her.
You go in with the manager and look at the Chick-fil-A surveillance, right?
Yes, sir.
And you remarked that the camera that Chick-fil-A had a distorted view, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So while it showed enough for you to say that you were looking at the fence, you were looking at someone being shot off the hood of a car, the specifics of that are things you can't be very certain about looking at the footage, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you indicated that you believe the person who got out of the car and fired the shot was wearing a white shirt?
That's what it appeared to be, yes, sir.
Okay, but when you say it appeared to be, you acknowledge that it's a very bad piece of footage.
It could have been better, yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take it. It could have been better. Can we go to 3,800 on this one? Yes, sir. So here you're just speaking with your field training officer, correct?
With the probationary officer, yes, sir.
Okay. And at one point, you are giving him instructions about who's SP1, SP2, SP3, et cetera. Do you recall that?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. And you instructed him that SP2 was to be noted as a Hispanic male. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And SP2 was the person you were designating as the front passenger of the black Kia, correct?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused?
Yes, Pat, state your
Yeah,
name.
let
Yes,
it go.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to
I'm glad we got to finally see some body footage, though. Or body cam footage, excuse
You
me.
can step down if you're leaving your microphone.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give you a break till 3 p.m. The reason why I'm giving you a longer break is there are a couple of cases from my morning docket that I need to take care of, but they should be done fairly quickly. Remember my previous instructions. You are not allowed to discuss with each other what you've seen or start internally deliberating with yourself. You're not allowed to view anything about this trial. If you see anything, turn it off. You're not allowed to do any investigation. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please.
We got it. Shout out to Judge Boyd. She does not play. Y'all know we've got the rewind available, so we're going to skip ahead. But before we do that, let me know what y'all think about that last testimony. I really haven't heard too much of a strong stance from the defense yet, mainly on a couple of the witnesses saying that the eyewitness testimony really didn't show a lot of what's being alleged by the prosecution. So when this police report happens, it seems like maybe there were some steps missed there. Things weren't verified. It could have been mishandled. We'll have to see what their argument is. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Let's keep it moving. We got our next one up.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I knew Amy would
All right,
catch
you may
that.
have a seat. If you make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jurors can hear. If you could state your name and spell your last name, please.
It's Matthew Flores, Flores.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Detective Flores, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the San Antonio Police Department.
And what unit are you currently with?
Right now I'm working with the Robbery Task Force
How long have you been employed with SAPD?
since 2008.
Okay, and are you a certified
Long
peace
time.
officer?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
When you first started out, can you just briefly walk us through what unit you started out with?
So, you want me to start from the academy or from?
Well, what training did you undergo to become a police officer with SAPD?
Yeah, so in 2007 I started the police academy. In the police academy you take a series of tests over penal code, code of criminal procedure, driving, shooting, tactics, scenarios, kind of what to do at a major crime scene, what to expect, how to secure crime scenes. Again, just more tests and eventually getting your peace officer license.
All right. And back in 2017, what unit were you with SAPD?
In 2017, I was assigned to the crime scene unit.
And what were your duty, or what training did you undergo specifically regarding crime scene investigation?
So when I promoted to detective, you go to a 2-week school just strictly dealing with crime scene responsibilities. You go over photographing, sketching, processing of evidence, collecting of evidence. It's a lot of that. You do about a week of classroom work, and then you'll do another week writing out with a CSI investigator, and you're basically shadowing that person on calls, kind of getting the experience.
Okay, and before becoming a crime scene investigator, had you previously had an assignment dealing with evidence collection?
So prior to being assigned CSI, I was, when I got promoted, I was considered a UEDI, which is a Uniform Evidence Detective Investigator. I did that for about 6 months, and you're basically doing the same thing. You're just going to maybe the minor crimes that require documentation of evidence, family violence, maybe an accident, stuff like that.
All right. So were you employed as a crime scene investigator with the San Antonio Police Department on April 23rd of 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what shift you were working?
I believe it was the B shift.
Okay. And is that the midday shift?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And on April 23rd, 2017, were you dispatched to 27 Northeast Loop 410?
Yes, ma'am. I was assigned to that call.
And thank you. Was that location located in Bexar County, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall what type of location that was?
It was a parking lot to a Chick-fil-A business.
Do you recall why you were dispatched there?
I was assigned there because CSI investigator requested my help.
And who would that CSI investigator be?
CSI Kimberly Wong.
Okay. Do you recall the SAPD case number associated with this case?
Not off the top, ma'am. If I can refresh my memory with my report.
Did you prepare a report at the time of the offense or shortly thereafter that would help refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting fellow we have here. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm showing you it's been marked for identification only as State's Exhibit number 23. Can you take a look at this document?
Yeah, so don't read it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you recognize this document?
Yes, this is my report.
Okay, and you've seen it before, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and if we look at the second page,
All right,
does that
here's where we
contain your
break
name?
down the
It
report.
is.
And is that your badge number at the time?
It is.
All right, and would this help refresh your memory if you need it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you could just, if you do need to refresh your memory, if you could just read it and not read from it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, going back to the date of the offense,
Not
can you
the
describe the
offense.
scene that you encountered upon arrival at the location?
Yes, when I arrived, I remember several officers there, several citizens there. Crime scene tape was up. There were several patrol cars basically securing the crime scene.
Okay, and just to back up a little bit, what is the SAPD case number associated with this call?
That's going to be SAPD 1708-9350.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that you were working with CSI Kimberly Wong. Do you recall any other CSIs that were assigned to that scene?
Yes, Catherine Andrews.
Okay. And so specifically regarding your role at the scene, what was your role at the scene as a CSI?
So I was requested at the scene just to record with a digital camcorder to document the scene and the evidence and the deceased.
All right. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 24. Can you take a look at that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And do you recognize what that is?
Yes, ma'am. It's a crime scene video that I observed on 1/30/25, which I marked with my initials and badge number.
Okay. And is that how you are able to confirm that what is contained upon the disc is the crime scene video that you took at the time of the offense?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the scene at the time?
It is.
And has it been altered in your knowledge to any way?
No, ma'am.
We are tendering to defense for inspection. At this time, the state offers State's Exhibit number 24.
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit number 24 is admitted without objection.
May be published on it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is all a setup for Kimberly
Can
Wong.
you just briefly explain to the jury what that is?
So this is what we call a photo board, just basic information, case number, my name and badge, the date, the district that that area was given, and then the camera, Golf Victor Charlie 5, GBC 5.
And were you using a camcorder to document this?
Yes, ma'am. A digital camcorder, yes, ma'am.
What are we waiting on, people? Oh, come on, cut back. We want to see it. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I am pausing the state's exhibit at 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Can you explain to the jury what that is?
Yes, this is has an evidence placard number 1, which is next to a parent spent shell casing.
Thank you.
Oh, dang. They show them laying on the ground. That's tough. Dang, that's crazy. Man, this silence is killing me.
Casing.
You want the shell casing?
Yes, ma'am. Just another close-up of the this casing.
Can you explain to the jury what you're doing on at this time on state's exhibit number 24?
So, communicating with CSI Wong, I was advised this was the path the
Objection,
vehicle.
hearsay, speculation.
With regards to hearsay, any response stated?
It is hearsay, yeah.
With regards to hearsay, it's not hearsay. He's not saying exactly. He's not relaying what was told.
He's
to him
saying
by
what he
CSI Wong.
heard.
He's
What the heck are you
explaining
talking about?
Why he's traveling the path that he's traveling.
So are you offering it for the truth of the matter asserted?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the objection is overruled.
You can answer the question.
This was the path apparently taken by the suspects, which I was trying to document through video. And to my knowledge, it was after the shooting.
Come on, show us the video. We don't care what they're doing. We want to see the body cam. They keep teasing us. We don't care what the defense attorneys are doing. Why does this body cam footage look like it's from 1998? What's going on there in San Antonio? I'm serious. I know y'all see it. Looks like one of my...
I'm going to pause State's Exhibit number 24 at 9 minutes and 59 seconds. Can you explain to the jury what is depicted on the State's Exhibit number 24?
Evidence marker number 2 is a orange or tangerine.
And is that something that would have been preserved from the scene?
Yeah, so it was collected and processed.
Okay, and is that something that can be stored in the property room or no?
No, it cannot. Our policy doesn't allow it, just for common sense. If you leave a food item in a property room, then the bugs and ants or whatnot would get to it.
And who processed E2 and State's Exhibit number 24?
Kimberly Wong.
That's funny, kind of funny that they marked the orange. But hey, I guess you never know what's important in an investigation.
I'm pausing State's Exhibit number 24 at 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Can you please explain to the jury what's depicted on the exhibit?
Yes, it is a water bottle, mark number 3.
Resuming.
Good afternoon.
And is that just a different vantage point of E1?
Yes, ma'am, just a different perspective of E1 and the other evidence as well.
He's just serious, I guess. That's why he's got that look on his face. I don't know. There's the orange. Did the orange do it? What's going on here? You can hear some of it. TAY case 24. All right, this is annoying. Like, if they're not gonna let us see it, we're gonna skip this.
Look at that for me.
Why aren't they letting us see it?
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, this is CSI Wong's crime scene photographs, which I viewed on 1/30 of 25 with my initials. And
What's marked as State's Exhibits number 25 through 31 inclusive. If you can just take a look at those.
Your Honor, excuse me for interrupting. Yes. Can we just have the witness tell us how long that video was? How much time?
Todd, if you could give him the timestamp for your video.
The length of it. Sorry.
The 24 minutes and 54 seconds.
That's right, Andar. That's basically it. Another day in the neighborhood. Thank y'all for liking the video too. We're at 100% likes.
And so you viewed States 25 through 31 inclusive before, haven't you, correct?
yes, ma'am.
All right, and are they fair and accurate depictions of the scene and people at the scene on the date of the offense?
Yes, ma'am.
And have they been altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
All right. And then regarding State's Exhibit number 32, can you go ahead and take a look at that for me?
Okay.
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, this is CSI Wong's crime scene photographs, which I viewed on 1/30 of 25 with my initials and badge number.
Okay, and your identifying marks on there, is that how you're able to confirm that it's the same thing that you viewed previously?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and when you viewed them, are they fair and accurate depictions of the crime scene as you observed it on the offense date?
They are.
Have they been altered to your knowledge in any way?
No, ma'am.
Tendering to defense for inspection. State offers State Exhibit number 25 through 32.
Speak up, lady.
No objections as to, this is, you said clean. No objections to 25 through 31. May I briefly void iris to 32?
Yes.
Good afternoon, officer. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank
You
you.
said that that this disc contains just still photographs?
Can I see the disc? Yes, to my knowledge, these are crime scene photographs from CSI Wong.
Okay. And you say from CSI Wong, in other words, you didn't take these photographs?
That's correct, I did not.
Okay. But you believe that these photographs were taken on the 23rd of April, 2017?
That's correct.
And you base that on your visual observation or based upon something you read from Kimberly Wong?
So I observed those photographs for pretrial purposes. And so that's our standard procedure at a scene. They take photographs, When it comes down to trial, I'll view photographs if they were mine as well. But in this case, I did observe those photographs, if that's what you're asking.
Well, I'm asking, when you looked at these photographs, were these photographs something that you recognized because of things you recalled from physically being there on April 23rd, 2017?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, so it wasn't based on just something you read from Ms. Wong that led you to believe that these were taken that day?
I was there at the scene. The photographs depict what I saw at the scene.
Okay. Your Honor, if I have just a brief recess to look at the disc and see its contents, I'm not sure I know exactly what's on it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief break. We'll have us back here at 4. Remember my previous instructions.
All right, for jury.
All right, so we're gonna skip ahead here. We're gonna bring him back. We don't get to hear what the issues are. Dang. Here we go.
Hoping that
They forgot to turn the sound back on. Here we go.
right.
Well, I mean, I was, you know, there's the firearm, there's the deadly weapon.
Right. We'll stipulate there was one 9mm weapon taken from one of the co-defendants. If there was a 9mm, we believe that is correct. The 9mm spent shell casing. Here's what I'd like to do is just rather than prolong this, I'm just hoping that the state will agree that they don't need 150 pictures. The jury has seen 25 minutes of a video of the deceased. We've stipulated to that. This is.
All right, so it appears to the court that the state has photographs there.
Yeah, we do, Judge. I'll look to try to accommodate their objection.
All right, and so state, would you be then withdrawing 32 and having actual photographs for the court to view?
Yes, Judge.
All right, so they're going to withdraw State's Exhibit number 32. If there are stipulations, if you all want to write up stipulations.
Hey, Judge, sorry, yeah, I interrupted you, sorry. But yes, if they're stipulating to the fact that the person that is named in the indictment, Mark Salvador, was killed, we can write up a stipulation that can be signed by both parties and entered into evidence. That might curtail having to bring in
150 photographs.
Well, not only that, but a medical examiner.
There might be other reasons for the medical examiner.
I will make sure as the oldest member of this group that we'll consider that.
Okay.
Because
well, we'll still bring him in.
We will advise you next week.
Okay, so
I had hoped-
just 1 second. Cindy, we're off the record because now they're having a
Yeah,
conversation.
sorry, Judge.
That's correct, John.
But
And it's hard for.
I'll have a conversation with them later about that portion, and we'll go through these photos right now and determine if we want to present just a more limited number of photographs, and then we'll present that to them. It'll just take us a minute or so.
All right, so you all are going to withdraw 32?
Yes, Judge.
And the defense has already agreed or have no objections to State's Exhibit 25 through 31. On the record, I didn't admit that yet because I was waiting to see what happens with 32.
Okay.
So the photographs. So we're on. Are we on? No, we're not on the record. So the photographs to 32. I'm sorry. The video for 32. You have those in photograph form.
Well, 32 was a CD. We have actual printed out that we can.
All right. So
look at.
it are the photographs that you have that are the photographs that are the stills from 32. Are you going to seek that through this witness?
It would be, yes, Judge.
All right, so if you all will look at the photographs and see if you can agree on the photographs that are going to be offered through this witness. If you can't, you lay your foundation in front of the jury, the court will review it, and the court will make a decision.
Thank you, Judge.
So if you all, defense, if you all want to.
If I could just speak with Jason really quickly,
Okay,
and then
sure.
I'll get with him. Thank
Okay.
you.
It might be still off, but listen.
All right, any objection to me letting the jurors know that I'm going to have them come back at 4:20 instead of 4 o'clock?
That's fine.
That'd be fine, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to go let them know.
All right,
Because I
so
don't like
let's
the
skip ahead
jurors to
to
think
take a
that it's
break.
anybody's fault.
Appreciate it.
All right, so 420.
Here we go.
Correct.
Shout out to
That's correct.
So
420.
States Exhibit 25 through 31 are admitted without
What do y'all
objections.
think so far?
And with regards to 32, say?
Judge, we are withdrawing State's Exhibit number 32, identified as a CD, and instead we will offer still photos.
All right, and that's still photos from the CD.
That's correct.
Any objection?
Well,
I guess.
I'll lay the
And,
predicate.
and I'm sorry, what numbers would those be?
It would be 32, 33, and 34.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna lay the predicate in timber.
All right.
Thank you, sorry. All right, Detective Flores, if you could take a look at what's been marked as State's Exhibits number 32, 33, and 34, please.
Okay.
Are those a fair and accurate depiction
We
of
didn't get
the
to hear
item
what
that's
happened.
depicted
We
on the
don't know
scene
what
on the
the
day of the
objections
offense?
was.
Yes, ma'am.
And have these been altered in any way?
Okay.
Tendering to defense for inspection and offering State's Exhibits 32, 34, and please.
No objection.
All right, States Exhibit 32, 33, and 34 are admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
All right, now Detective Flores, I want you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 25. Can you please explain to the jury what is depicted in State's Exhibit number 25?
Yes, so this is the crime scene. I'm on the left, holding the camcorder, and the female
no
with
wonder they have
the
a
blonde hair
camcorder.
is laying a placard E1. That's Kimberly Wong.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 26.
And this just appears to be from a different angle. I'm the one standing up, and Kimberly Wong is the one kneeling down.
And she's
Kimberly
marking
Wong is about
what's
to get cooked by this
marked as E1, is that correct?
That's
defense.
correct.
And that's documented in State's Exhibit number 24, your CSI video.
That's correct. Where E1 was at.
State's Exhibit number 27.
And again, this appears to be her placing the placard or kneeling down by the stem shell casing. And I'm standing there as well, same spot,
All right.
same area.
And you're, in the photo, I mean, is that you right there that I'm pointing at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're actively looking in the area and direction of Kimberly Wong, is that correct?
That's correct.
This is just out of order, but State's Exhibit number 31.
That is the medical examiner starting her examination, and then the E1 placard is next to her.
All right, and what is the time reflected on that photo?
I show, it says 23:54, date for 23:17.
And State's Exhibit number 28. Is that Kimberly Wong obtaining E1?
Yes, that was female in the blonde hair to the left of the picture, reaching down and collecting E1.
State's Exhibit number 29.
That is myself in the middle. On the left is Catherine Andrews, and to the right is Kimberly Wong holding the envelopes for the evidence.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 30.
Same thing, I'm staying in the middle, Catherine Andrews staying to the left, and Kimberly Wong's to the right with the evidence bag.
Okay, State's Exhibit number 32.
The evidence mark E1, which is a stem shell casing.
State's Exhibit 33.
Photograph of the stent shell casing.
Why can't we see the
Yeah.
Why can't we see the exhibits? This is kind of takes away from the case.
And stent shell casing with the number 1 placard.
All right, now, are you aware of any physical evidence that was seized under SCP 1708-9350?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I am going to show you it's been marked as State's Exhibit number 35, 36, and 37. Do you recognize these items?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And are you the one that brought them to court yesterday?
I did.
All right, now starting with State's Exhibit number 35, is that labeled as E1 in Kimberly Wong's report?
Yes, that is labeled E1, and that is on Kimberly Wong's report.
And it's also documented on the CSI video State's Exhibit number 24 that you created, correct?
That's correct.
And you personally observed Kimberly Wong mark E1, which is State's Exhibit
Your Honor,
number
I'm going to
35.
object to leading the witness through this.
I knew they were gonna object. I was just about to say
The
something
objection
too.
to that question will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
Yes, you did place the
So close.
placard on the evidence.
Okay, and did you observe Kimberly Wong sees E1, State's Exhibit number 35?
Yes, she collected the evidence.
Okay,
E1.
and, sorry, go ahead.
She did collect the evidence E1.
Okay, and so prior to today, you've gone to the SAPD property room, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you had a chance to observe State's Exhibit number 35, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and are there any unique identifiers that link this to the scene and to Kimberly Wong?
So in the front is a barcode with the case number, marked E1. It's also labeled one spent showcasing with marking laser 9mm Luger. And
Okay, now how is that
Your Honor, I'm
relevant?
going to object to the witness reading the labeling on the packaging. That's obviously hearsay and confrontation since he didn't generate the label or the barcode.
All right. Until it is offered into evidence, the objection will be sustained.
Motion to instruct the jury to disregard the testimony.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please disregard the last question and the last answer.
Motion for mistrial.
Denied.
All right, so regarding, let's just back up a little bit, okay? So regarding State's Exhibits 35, 36, and 37, previously to today, you've gone to the SAPD property room, is that correct?
that's correct.
And you personally observed these items?
35 and 36, 37, no.
Okay, so 35 and 36, you have gone to the SAPD property room, correct?
That's correct.
I
And
love
you
how he just
observed them
says
at the
motion for
SAPD
mistrial
property room.
so
Yes, ma'am.
flippantly.
Okay,
Motion for mistrial.
and regarding 35, when you opened the package and looked in it, did what is contained within State's Exhibit number 35 contain unique identifiers specific to Kimberly Wong?
Yes, it had her initials, KW, and her badge number.
And is that the same with State's Exhibits number 36?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this line of inquiry. It's, again, hearsay. It's all coming from material that he read off of the labeling and the documentation, all of which was offered by a different witness.
Here we go. Motion for mistrial. Let's see if he does
That
it.
objection will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
Ah, he didn't say it.
It had her initials and her badge number on the inside of the spent showcasing, as well as State Exhibit 36 on the towel and on the cell phone.
Okay.
Her initials and badge number.
And then regarding State's Exhibit number 36, do you know if she did any analysis on State's Exhibit number 36 when you looked at it?
Yes, so I noticed black powder on the cell phone, which through my training experience tells me that it was
Your Honor, I'm
processed.
going to object if we could please take the witness on board if they're going to listen an opinion under 702.
Yes, we take the witness on board.
Good afternoon, officer. How are you?
Good.
You mentioned that you observed something that appeared to you to be black powder on the cell phone that was processed here, correct?
That's correct.
You did not personally bag or document or do anything with that cell phone other than to record it for the purposes of the video that the state has already offered into evidence, right?
That's correct. I did not process that phone.
You didn't perform any gunshot residue analysis on that phone, did you?
No, sir.
So what you're talking about is something that just visually appeared to you to be gunshot or gunpowder, right? Not
No,
something
sir.
that you know to be gunpowder.
So I observed it to be the black powder we use to fingerprint evidence.
Fingerprint powder. That's what you were getting at?
That's what I meant, sir.
Okay, you are.
I said black powder, that's what we call it, and that's what we call it in CSI, the black powder brush method. We apply black powder onto a, for this example, would be a phone. You would use your brush, go over the black powder to try and develop fingerprints. You would place some tape on that object and try to lift it and place it onto a card, which can be later examined.
So all you're saying is you saw dust that would be used by people in law enforcement to fingerprint the object in question. That's all you're testifying to?
That and the fact that I've read Kimberly Wong's report.
I'm going to object to you asking or saying anything about that report, but something about that report is
To answer your question,
Oh,
yes,
they're
sir.
getting them now.
I looked at the phone, I saw the powder, and I know it's in process.
I'll withdraw my objection. I thought we were talking about something else. Thank you, sir.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. And then regarding State's Exhibit number 37, you have also had a chance to review it as you're looking at it. Is that correct?
Yes, I came into contact with this yesterday.
Okay. And it has, what does it have on it? That's a unique identifier.
The case number and Kimberly Wong's name and badge number.
Same objection, Your Honor. Hearsay confrontation.
Overruled.
All right. Now regarding State's Exhibits 35 through 37 and inclusive, these are all items of physical evidence that were seized under case number SAPD 17089350. Is that correct?
Objection, speculation, lack of personal knowledge, hearsay confrontation.
Overruled.
You can answer the question.
Just 1 second. Cindy, you need a break?
Uh-oh. Help the court reporter. About the loser. Oh my goodness, these court reporters be going through it.
Yes, this evidence is collected under this case number.
All right. And looking at State's Exhibit number 35, it's in substantially the same condition as it was on scene. Is that correct? As documented in the State's Exhibit 24?
Objection, speculation.
He testified that he personally observed it at the property room.
I'm going to object to the sidebar of the prosecutor. I'd ask the court to rule on my objection.
Your objection is overruled.
Motion for mistrial.
Can you ask the question again?
Regarding State's Exhibit number 35, you've previously testified that you were able to view it at the property room. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you observed it, did it appear to be in substantially the same form and condition as it was when it was seized on the offense date on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. At this time, well, would you like to come up here to view them?
Well, I mean, I think I understand based on this testimony what it is. You're offering those exhibits?
Yes, I am.
You're offering the actual contents of the envelopes, not just the envelopes themselves?
That would be correct.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could have another voir dire with the witness.
How you doing over there, Amy?
So just to be clear, you did not collect any of those objects, correct?
That's correct, sir.
And the person who did collect those objects was Kimberly Wong, right?
That's correct.
And Kimberly Wong documented those objects, where she collected them, and gave them
Did she
their unique
document them
barcode
right, or
numbers,
did she
right?
document them wrong?
Yes, sir.
You had no part or role
I'll be
in
here
the
all day.
processing of that evidence, other than to be the videographer in the 25-minute video we saw earlier today, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Your 25-minute video does not actually show Ms. Wong placing these objects in the respective brown envelopes that are now before you today, correct?
On my video, no.
Okay. And, I mean, just, if you know, where is Ms. Wong?
She's not in the United States.
Okay. Is she no longer employed by the San Antonio Police Department?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. So Ms. Wong is unavailable for all purposes as of the purposes of this trial. You'd agree with
To
that?
my knowledge, yes, sir.
Okay. And the information that you have testified to do today about regarding these objects,
She
in part
did
is
it-
informed
she did
by
it
a
wrong.
report that you read authored by Kim Wong, correct?
Ask that again.
The things you have testified to about these objects that are in the envelopes in front of you that the state has now offered, part of what you've been able to talk about regarding those objects is informed by what you've read in Kim Wong's report, correct?
Yes, that's correct. From the scene
Yeah,
and
this isn't Wong.
what was collected from the scene.
This is
it
Flores.
And
coincides,
Kim Wong's report, correct?
which also connects with my report as well.
Okay. I'm not asking you what connects up with your report. I just would like you to answer my question, yes or no. Is part of what you've testified to here today informed by your review of Kimberly Wong's report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
That's not great.
you cannot speak to how Kimberly Wong collected these objects, right? For example, was Kimberly Wong gloved when she picked up the shell casing? Or did she do anything to the shell casing before putting it in the envelope? Those things are not documented.
I wonder if she's
in what
out of the
you have
country for a
prepared, right?
reason.
So I've worked with Kimberly Wong.
I'm going to ask you just yes or no. Do you have firsthand personal knowledge, visual observation of the exact things that Kimberly Wong did for those objects that are in front of you? Not what her reputation is or how you know her, those things.
So being able to view video from, in this case, from Coban and body cam I did observe that.
I'm going to object to non-responsive and ask that the jury disregard that answer.
That objection will be overruled.
All right, so officer, what you're saying is, it's only through looking at other things documented after the scene, some of which has not been put before the jury, some of which is not in evidence at the moment, that you are of the opinion that you can speak to whether or not Kimberly Wong collected these items in an appropriate way, right?
It's a fair question.
That's correct. I was able to refresh my memory looking at.
Let's just be careful about that. You say refresh your memory. When you arrived at the scene, Kimberly Wong asked you to walk around with a camcorder and photograph the general layout of the crime scene, correct?
To record with the camcorder.
And that's what you were doing during that 25-minute period that we watched. You're behind the camcorder during all of that.
That's correct.
So it is not from your personal memory of what you personally, physically saw that day that you can attest to what happened to get those objects in those brown paper bags, correct?
So I remember recording the scene. I remember
I
recording the
understand you
scene.
remember recording the scene, but you'd agree with me, we don't see Kimberly Wong bagging these objects in your camera footage, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
I missed something. What did KW do wrong?
Your Honor, we would object that the predicate has not been appropriately laid, that the chain of custody has not been established. This individual is not the commencement of the chain of custody, and we have a confrontation right to the person who originated the chain of custody. All of the things that the state has put in evidence are before the commencement of the chain of custody and are not a substitute for it. We would object that this is not the correct witness to lay that foundation. And also hearsay confrontation, to the extent that much of this is dependent upon hearsay in order to be attested to today.
Your Honor, this chain of custody has been established. There's been no evidence of tampering, fraud, or problems in the chain of custody. The evidence has been authenticated as being authentic under 901A, and it goes to weight and audit visibility.
We're not required to demonstrate that there's any evidence of tampering or impropriety in order to be able to stand on Mr. McIntyre's right to have the chain of custody properly authenticated and established by the witness at the beginning or the commencement of it.
That's true.
And so our objection still stands.
Judge, I have case law if you'd like to review it, but the chain of custody has been established. He has testified that he personally observed Kimberly Wong along with the state's exhibits that were previously introduced, the photos that are state's exhibit 25 through 31, which shows Kimberly Wong marking and seizing the evidence.
Your Honor, I can just cite from one particularly regrettable, memorable example because I lost the argument. I can cite the court to Russell versus State out of the Austin Court of Appeals for the premise that if there's going to be a confrontation issue with regard to chain of custody, it is at the commencement and the origin of the chain of custody. And Ms. Wong is clearly, I don't think anyone's dispute here, the first person in this chain of custody. Everything this witness attests to is when this evidence is still on the ground and not in custody. I'm sorry, Your Honor, I think we were talking at the same time. The court is overruled.
Yeah, that was dope. This man just cited his own case. He's like, hey, I can give you an example because I was there. Dang. That's impressive. I'm not going to lie.
All right. Now, if you could please, oh, you have your glove ready. Do you need scissors?
Please.
All right. Now, regarding State's Exhibit number 35, can you please open that?
Opening evidence is always weird to me. That's very impressive. And he was on the other side of it. Someone's making the objection against him, and they won. So he's like, I remember it because.
And if you could take a look at it and see if there's any unique identifiers on it.
Yes, there is.
What are they?
Kim Wong's initial KW with her badge 9440 on the inside of the spin showcasing.
Same objections, Your Honor, hearsay and confrontation.
All right, you can go ahead and put that back.
Put it back in.
Yeah. And then State's Exhibit number 36, please.
Interesting. They might be able to use the chain of custody issue on appeal. Yeah, and I wonder if they're going that route because they want to force Kim Wong to testify. I don't know if she's going to testify or not. It seems like a lot of people are talking about what she did and what they observed, but are we going to see her at some point? Maybe. It's sounding like not, if they're going through all this trouble.
And just what you're holding right here, what is this?
This is a white towel with a teal stripe.
And does it have any markings on there?
It does. It has initials KW9440, which is Kim Wong's badge number, and first and last initials.
Okay.
Objections, Your Honor, hearsay and confrontation.
All right. And then regarding this item, what is this?
This is a cell phone, and on the back, initials KW9440.
And what do you observe on the back of that cell phone?
Same objections, Your Honor, to that testimony about the initials, hearsay, confrontation.
And just so I can clarify, I'm not asking about the initials. What do you observe on the back of that phone?
Black powder. Black powder is what I observed.
And in your training and experience, that's consistent with what?
With the item being processed for fingerprints.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Just trying to say we did our job, man. Relax.
We pass the witness over.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, it's now Detective Flores, correct?
That's correct.
So you were talking about observing black powder, and by that I understand you mean fingerprint powder on the phone, right?
That's correct.
And this was the phone that you've come to learn from other officers, including Ms. Wong, was handed to police by a bystander that they believe was thrown out the window of the car. Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
Okay. You noticed that black powder, and in your mind, that was significant. You automatically connected that with, okay, the technician fingerprinted, dusted for fingerprints.
That's correct.
You didn't observe that kind of fingerprint dust on the shell casing, correct?
I couldn't observe that initially when I looked at it, no.
And I mean, you have it in front of you today. You don't see any of that kind of fingerprint dust on the shell casing now, do you?
It wasn't it's not standing out like it was on the phone. If it was, I don't see it.
Okay, so you don't know either way, but it never stood out to you.
Oh, not on the shell casing, no.
Okay. And you don't know whether Ms. Wong dusted that shell casing for fingerprints, do you?
If I'm allowed to go to a report, that's...
I'm not asking you what you read from other sources. Do you have any personal knowledge of it being dusted for fingerprints?
No, I was not present when it was
Wong not here?
processed.
And
This is
you don't have
wild.
any personal knowledge of whether it was swabbed for touch DNA or any other forensic procedures, do you?
No knowledge of that.
Okay. You, in your report, referenced that you went with the camcorder and documented the scene as you observed it, and which you marked in your report as E1, E2, E3, and V. Do you recall writing those initials or variables?
Yes, sir.
And when you're referring to E1, E2, and E3, are you referring to Kimberly Wong's E1, E2, and E3?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Andrews?
Kimberly Wong.
Okay. You're not referring to Ms. Andrews' E1, E2, and E3?
This is Kimberly Wong's E1, E2, E3.
Okay. And were you aware of the fact that there may be other E1s, E2s, and E3s in this case?
If there was, I'm referring to Kimberly Wong's E1, E2, E3.
Okay.
If I may...
Thank you, officer. I
Okay.
appreciate it. When you arrived, Ms. Wong and Ms. Andrews were both already present at the scene. Is that correct?
I know Kimberly Wong was. I don't
think
recall
about it too hard, brother.
At what time, if Andrews got there before or after.
Okay. And you're referring to something during my questioning. Is that your report or Ms. Wong's report?
Which answer?
You were reading something during my last question. Is that Ms. Wong's report or yours?
This is my report.
Okay.
Right.
When you document the baggie of marijuana on that video that we watched earlier, it appears to be in very close proximity to the body. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Would it surprise you to learn that Ms. Andrews documented that marijuana to be much further from the body, about equidistant on the other side of the deceased's head from where the shell casing was found?
You asked me, am I surprised?
Would that surprise you?
I saw the bag close to the body, and that's what I saw.
Okay.
I don't know.
You never saw during the course of your work documenting the scene anyone move the bag of marijuana?
I only saw it when the medical examiner arrived and began her investigation. That's when I first saw it.
And the body was rolled. You see that on the footage? That's when you saw it?
That's when I saw it, and which was on my video.
Okay.
Just tell the truth, brother. It's okay.
Did you have any other involvement in this case after you submitted the videotape to Ms. Wong?
So once I turned in the video, I don't recall any other involvement in the case.
You weren't responsible for processing or handling any of the objects of evidence that the state has introduced through you today?
That's correct. Besides the video, at the scene, no. I didn't process any evidence.
As to how those things were processed, we would need to ask Ms. Wong, right?
That's not my call. That's,
As far as you know, Ms. Wong's the one who did the processing of these objects.
yes, that's fair.
I'll pass the witness.
I have no further questions.
Parties approach.
Approaching again. Oh man, this witness is giving them a lot of trouble. Let's go ahead and get this guy off the
So noted.
stand.
States Exhibit 35, 36, and 37 are admitted. Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excused by the state.
Excuse by the defense.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone as long as this child continues. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if you'll remove the microphone and you may step down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. All right, so we got him
State,
up
call
out
your
of there.
next witness.
Before they call this next witness, what do y'all think about this man? This whole testimony seems like hearsay, to be honest, because he's commenting on what he saw somebody else do, what he thought she did. Why isn't she here, and how is this possible? I guess because they talk about the chain of custody. If it followed the proper chain of custody, then there's really no dispute. But I want to hear from our attorneys. We've got a couple of y'all in here. How was this testimony able to be heard? And let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat too. Let's keep it moving. We're going to get into the next testimony here. Let's see who's on the stand. Sounds like it, but there's usually sloppy work. Not that this is an excuse, but
Did you say bye, Ms.
Yes.
Take a seat right up here, sir. And just put your this on your shirt. Take a seat. You just where you at. Sure.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Can you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear. And if you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Name's Gabriel Baez. Last name is Baez.
All right, state your name, proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Baez, can you, well, let me just ask you some questions. How long have you lived in San Antonio, sir?
Just outside of San Antonio. Quite a while, about maybe 15 years.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead, since it's late today, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in and ask you, on April 23rd,
Yeah.
2017, were you in the parking lot near Jason's Deli and Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
Okay, if you could just speak up into the microphone.
Yeah, we're closer.
Because people just need to hear it, okay? And will you please tell me, when you were in that parking lot, did you observe anything unusual in the parking lot when you were standing there?
Initially, no. It was,
And then after you were standing there for an amount of time, whatever it may be, did you see anything that caught your eye?
no.
So, did you see anything that day in that parking lot?
After hearing
Okay.
a noise and
Well, let me stop you. You said you heard a noise. What noise did you hear?
sounded like a gunshot or a loud bang.
And can you tell the jury, were you inside a building? Were you inside a car? Were you outside of a car or outside of the building? Where were you?
Outside of my car, outside of a building. shopping center.
And what was the, if you can remember, what was the closest establishment that you were to?
We came out of Jason's Deli, and right next to it was like a fabric store and a Chick-fil-A, I think.
So I'm assuming if you came out of Jason's Deli, you had eaten or picked up food?
Yes, sir.
And you say we, was there anybody else with you?
My wife and my old star.
And when you heard this big bang, it caught your attention, and you said bang, or did you say what else it could sound like?
Like maybe like a, like a tire
We don't know.
kind of blowout, just a loud kind of echoing bang, but we were right off the highway, so.
And after that big bang, did you observe anything happen after that?
I would say kind of like right after, not initially, but a car kind of zipping through the parking lot where we were in and then just kind of leaving.
And you're saying zipping through the parking lot. Can you define that to the jury? Was it moving fast or?
Yeah, it was moving fast. It wasn't a normal cruise through the parking lot.
And can you tell the jury, was it daylight or was it nighttime?
It was daytime. Don't remember the exact time, but it was after we got done eating, so.
And when you observed this vehicle going through the parking lot, was it, I guess, coming towards you or away from you?
It was coming towards us, but then kind of quickly turned away towards like the exit of like the main road.
And while observing this vehicle zip through the parking lot, did you observe anything about the vehicle or the occupants or anything?
It was really quick, so I wasn't able to really pay a whole lot of attention. Kind of focusing on myself and my family. I guess if you kind of explain a little bit more, or if you want to go into more detail.
Well, I mean, it's just what you can remember. I know this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I just want the jury to understand what you saw that day. And I'm just going to ask you questions and just
Yeah.
do the best as you can, okay?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever collect something from that parking lot that day?
Yeah. I was gonna.
Let me ask you this. Where did that object come from?
Yeah. So I'm gonna elaborate. As the car was kind of going through the parking lot, kind of like in the quick moment, I noticed what looked like a phone, something shiny,
Man, who
square,
turned on the vacuum
kind of
cleaner?
tumbling and hitting the ground, kind of
on?
right after that car was leaving that area.
And so, did you observe that phone coming from that vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, it came, just kind of shortly from that turn, in that little area. It didn't look like it was something being ran over, it looked like something coming out of the car.
If you could you determine what side of the vehicle it came from?
I want to say it came from like the driver's side. I don't know specifically which,
Did you ever did you talk to the police about this
Yeah, I talked about it for, a couple of minutes.
when the police showed up?
Yes.
And let me, you collected this what you determined that it, well, did you find out it was a phone?
Yeah, after I got my, family in the car and we were kind of debating on what we should do, because of the whole situation. And then, we thought, well, let's go see what that was. And then that's when I, walked up to it, saw that it was a phone, and then I walked around that Chick-fil-A parking lot because I started noticing people heading towards the other side of the building. So yeah, I noticed it was a phone, and I didn't know what to really do at the moment. So we kind of like waited, and then I decided to just go grab a towel and pick it up in case someone found it or didn't see it.
Okay, well, let me show you what's been marked state exhibit number 36, state exhibit number 36. I'm going to show you that. One, do you recognize the towel?
Yes.
And do you recognize the phone?
Specifically, no.
Okay, but the towel you do recognize, and the phone, it was, what was it, do you remember there was an Apple phone or anything?
No, I didn't really, investigate it.
But then, what did you do with this towel that had a phone? What did you do with it?
I kept it in my possession until we talked to an officer that was on that scene.
And did you hand that phone, or that towel that had the phone in it, did you hand that off to anyone?
Yes, sir.
And who did you? Well, did you hand it off to the police?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you the mark, state exhibit number 38. And do you recognize that?
Yes.
And is it a photo?
Yes.
And
it a
can you
photo?
recognize who's in the photo?
Me.
That's
What
you?
kind of
Yes.
question is that?
And is this, what do you have in your hand?
That towel and phone.
And it looks like you're standing in a rocky area.
Yeah, just like the part of the parking lot, little division.
And where did you find the phone that day?
Don't remember specifically, because right now. But it was in this general area where we were walking around. I was kind of pointing out to where I saw it kind of tumble and flip.
Okay. Then I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 39.
Okay.
This is, do you recall this map?
Yes.
And is it fair and accurate depiction of what you said happened that day?
Yes, sir.
And I see that you have a circle right here. What does that depict?
That should be kind of the general area where I found the phone.
And then I see a line on this map. What does that indicate?
That'd be like the route that we saw this car kind of leave the area.
The car that threw the phone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then I see a circle over here with it looks like an X over it.
Yeah, that should be kind of like the general area where we were parking.
Okay. And then also I see a circle over here. And what is this area?
We didn't physically go to that exact spot, but we were in the general area kind of seeing the crime scene, and I saw like body on the floor.
And,
Dang.
and this circle over here, is that where you witnessed the body?
Yes,
That's
sir.
crazy
Do
timing.
you mind? No, that's all right. At this time, Your Honor, the state would offer state exhibit number 38 and 39 and to evidence. We'll tender to the defense for any objections.
No objections.
All right, states exhibits 38 and 39 are admitted without objection.
Maybe you published one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can we see them, please? Oh, here we go. I wonder if the judge gave them
And that
an order.
is state exhibit number
About
38
exhibits.
that you stated earlier.
Oh,
That is
here we
you
go.
holding that towel with the phone in it.
Yes.
And this rocky area is what is depicted as where you believe that you found it.
Yes, sir.
Or not believe, that's where you did find it in the general area.
Yes, sir.
Okay. State exhibit number 39 is a bird's eye view. And I'll ask you, this portion right here, what does that depict?
That should be where we parked.
And this is where you and your wife and your child were?
Yes, sir.
And this is where you were standing outside your car when you heard the big bang?
Yes, sir. We were getting into the car.
And then that's when you observed, what does this line here indicate?
It'd be like the vehicle route of its leaving.
And that's after you heard the big bang?
Yes, sir.
And then this circle right here?
That's where I found the phone.
And then again, this other circle over here?
That would be where I saw the body.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
At this time, Your Honor, we'll pass the witness.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. You saw a woman throw the phone out of the car?
I didn't see anyone specific, though.
Well,
Pass the witness.
All right, any further questions?
No more questions, please release.
Is this witness excused? All right, the rule has been invoked. That means you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone during the pendency of this trial. All right, do you remove the mic? Sure. And you are excused.
Thank you so much.
all right, there you go. Another one down. We're gonna get into day 4 here shortly, so y'all hang in there. Thank you to everybody who's liked the video so far, who's still watching. I appreciate y'all. This trial is interesting. And do any of our attorneys, amazing attorneys on this channel, do y'all know what's going on with that last testimony? Y'all got to tell me, because it didn't make sense.
No, it's the smaller microphone next to your left. The square.
The square.
No.
I'm sorry.
Right there. On the edge.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
Sorry.
No problem. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so members of the jury can hear. If you'll state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Dan Aiken, last name's A-K-I-N.
State you may proceed.
Shout out to Mr. Aiken.
Mr. Aiken, how old are you currently?
69,
Why do they ask
And
him?
what
Hey,
city do you
yo.
currently live in?
San Antonio,
How long have you lived in San Antonio?
20 years.
All right. And did you go to school here in San Antonio?
No, ma'am.
All right. Where did you go to school at?
San Marcos,
Okay.
high school.
All right. And how are you currently employed?
I am a independent contractor with Chick-fil-A,
Okay.
operator owner.
That's the
And
manager.
do you own and operate the Chick-fil-A located at 27 Northeast Loop 410, San Antonio, Texas, 78216?
Yes, ma'am.
And about how long have you been doing that?
20 years.
Okay. Now I want to turn your attention to April 23rd.
Chick-fil-A's out there getting it.
Were you made aware of an incident that occurred in the parking lot of your Chick-fil-A?
Yes, I was.
And when you learned of this incident, what did you do?
I immediately came up to the restaurant.
Okay. And were you able to observe the scene upon arrival?
Yes,
And did you speak with officers on that day?
yes, I did.
Okay. And was your Chick-fil-A at the time equipped
Owning a
with
Chick-fil-A
security
in
cameras?
Yes.
Texas has
Can
got
you
to be
please
amazing.
describe to the jury what kind of cameras you had at the time?
They were digital cameras located at various locations on site.
All right. And some of the cameras, they had a fishbowl view, is that correct?
Could you repeat that?
They were like a fishbowl or a fish
Yes,
eye view?
yes. I think there were two at that time.
And in fact, when you appeared on scene, you had your MacBook with you, is that correct?
That is correct.
And the officers allowed you to enter your establishment, is that
That
correct?
is correct.
And you were able to pull up your security camera and begin looking for relevant video, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to object. Every question is related.
All right, that objection will be sustained as to the last question.
Did you find any relevant video?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 40. I'm going to take it out of its white envelope. That way you're able to see it. Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And does that have what is it?
It's a CD-ROM disc.
And have you had a chance to view what is contained on that disc?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And what does the disc contain?
It contains various videos from that day that were deemed pertinent.
Okay. And that's what you turned over. Those videos that are contained on the disc is what you turned over to San Antonio Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any identifying marks on State's Exhibit number 40?
Yes, I signed my name and dated it September 20th, 2024.
And is that how you are able to ensure that this is the same video that you turned over to SAPD?
Yes.
Okay, now regarding this recording, was it prepared on a device that was capable of making accurate visual recordings?
Yes.
And did you find your system at the time, your security system, to be reliable and accurate and fairly depict the location?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, has this been altered in any way?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. And you viewed it, and it was the same videos that you gave to the police department,
Yes,
right?
they were. Yes, they
Okay.
were.
And on the date, and on April 23rd, 2017, you were competent to operate that system, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the recording wasn't made at or near the time of the offense?
This is the Chick-fil-A manager.
What was that question again? I'm sorry.
Well, the video that's contained that captured the offense, correct?
Yes.
And it was live recording as it occurred?
He said,
Yes,
"What's the
yes, it was
offense?"
recording as it occurred.
Thank you. I'm tendering to the jury for inspection. The state offers this exhibit
No objections, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit number 40 is submitted without objection.
permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank y'all for asking great questions in the chat too. I got your man TAY over there yawning. Why can't we see the video? Ah, this is terrible, man.
Okay, Mr. Aiken, what is shown on the screen, can you tell the jury where that camera is located?
It is on the northeast corner of our restaurant building, the back corner,
Okay.
facing Conn's and K&G Superstore.
Thank you. And just to clarify, the view that we're looking at right now, is that a fisheye view camera?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and on the left side of the video, that's the parking lot going towards the shopping center.
Yes.
And on the right side of the video, that's towards 410.
Right side, I think that was, let me look at the bigger picture. I think that is where TGI Fridays used to be.
Okay, but if you take a look at the video,
Oh, I can see the access road, you're
okay,
correct.
thank you.
Thank you.
And just for the record, State's Exhibit number 40 is paused at 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah, he's the manager operator.
And just rotating video for.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to them manipulating the video. There's been no predicate laid that that's not something native to the program. I don't think this would be witness to sponsor that.
Judge, it's not manipulating the video, it's using the viewer to look at it in a different manner because it's oriented sideways.
That would be the testimony of the prosecutor. I think they need to have someone explain whether, like, how that works.
Objection is overruled.
And Your Honor, I guess just so that the written record is clear, the prosecutor has opened up a dialogue window within the application that's running the video and has gone through a series of menu selections to reach what appears to be a digital representation of a dial, almost like a rotary phone instrument, and has now moved the angle of the image. And as long as counsel doesn't disagree with that recitation of it, I'd just like the record to show that the exhibit and the file folder within the exhibit has been altered by the prosecutor in the course of this through the computer program.
All right, State, with regards to the defense's recitation, has this video changed in the fact that the view is changed, or has the contents been changed?
The content has not been changed at all. It is the same video that was just authenticated by this witness that was provided to San Antonio Police Department. The only thing that has been changed is that it has been oriented by the angle so that the jury can have a clearer view of what is occurring in the exhibit, but the contents are not the same, are not altered in any way.
And Your Honor, I would just object again to the prosecutor testifying to that fact. I'm just want the record to reflect visually.
All right, objection is overruled, and the record will reflect whatever reflects on the defense counsel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wish they would let us see this evidence.
For the record, I am fast forwarding State's Exhibit 40 to 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
I'm so glad we actually get to see this. Oh, Oh, come on. Why do they keep doing this? I wonder, let me see here. I'm gonna see if I can find a better camera angle for y'all. Let's see.
For the record, I'm playing a different camera review from State's Exhibit number 40. Where is this camera located, Mr. Aiken?
It is on the other back corner of the building facing the shopping strip mall.
Thank you.
Yeah, even on Judge Boyd's channel, they don't show. They aren't showing it either. Man, that's a shame. Yeah, they're not showing it there either. All right, y'all give me 1 second here. I'll put this up on the screen for you too.
And I'm going to play a different vantage point from State's Exhibit number 40. Mr. Aiken, if you could just tell us where this camera is located.
This camera was on a pole facing back towards that very first camera, fisheye camera we looked at. TGI Fridays, it's near TGI Fridays or where it was before.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's all the people that was in the car running over there.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Just real quick, when you opened your MacBook to give the police the video, what program does your computer use to have the video on?
It's okay, so I'd log on to like Safari, the web browser, and then I'd go to a program called Envision, which you saw the title, you know, for each one of these you saw the title for that company. And that's our video provider.
Okay.
for our business.
They store it on a cloud, I guess?
There is cloud storage, but there's also, what do you call it, DVR? So there is some amount of DVR storage and then it goes to the cloud.
Okay, understood. Since this was so fresh, it was on DVR, not cloud?
Correct, correct.
But you're not using VLC to look at the video on your computer or in your ordinary practice of the
So
business,
they're
right?
saying that they
I'm sorry, I
manipulated the
don't,
video.
I'm not familiar with VLC, probably I should be, but I don't know.
Safe to say you're not using VLC in your business?
Okay,
Okay.
I would assume that's correct, because I don't know what it is.
Fair enough. Ask the witness.
No further questions, excused by state.
All right, there it is. They didn't show much though.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the room has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone as long as this child continues. We can leave that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I sure appreciate y'all. Oops.
No problem. State call your next witness.
Judge, that's been obvious other witnesses for today.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the state does not have any more witnesses for the day, but they have not rested their case yet. I'm going to have you all come back tomorrow, and we will start in the morning tomorrow. I don't expect other jurors to be called up, so you should be able to have parking space. We can go off the record, Cindy.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
somebody did tell me there is a lot of activity happening downtown
Okay,
tomorrow.
we don't care about the parking. All right, so we got it. We made it through day 3. So let's go ahead and get into day 4. Just Boyd's already over there getting ready to close out the week strong. So let's go ahead and get into that. But before we do, let me know what y'all think about this so far in the comments in the chat. Let me see what y'all are saying. Shout out to the gang up in here. Amy said this case is coming along. I agree. This is going to be an interesting trial. Yeah, I'm with y'all on that too. He owns the Chick-fil-A. Yes, absolutely. Exactly. All right. And thank y'all to everybody who's liked the video too. Let's go ahead and get into day 4. Let's see what we've got up here. This is the wrong one. We're going to go to KSAT 12. Here we go. Oh, we'll actually get to see some video today.
Correct.
Oh, we might not get into it. Dang.
We'll see 1 second question and answer that is not materially in dispute. I can make that representation.
Okay.
I think we might as well just go ahead and have that done, even though we know it's not in material dispute.
Well, no, I mean,
Here we go. Now we are live. This is court proceeding from
raise your
today.
hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand if you'll remember to keep your voice.
Sorry about that.
From KSAT 12. Good.
Oh no, what happened? What did I do? What did I do? Well, is this the right one? Yep, here we go. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, this might actually be a quick trial.
Of the left forehead at the hairline. Correct.
In particular, is
Go
that
back a little bit. Hold on, we're having
is there
technical
an individual
difficulties,
that
y'all.
an autopsy report was generated on for a Mark Anthony Salvador?
Yes.
And
Okay, this must be the medical examiner.
Good morning.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand if you'll remember to keep your voice up so that the jurors can hear. And if you'll state the name and spell your last name for the record, please.
Yes. I'm Dr. Kimberly Molina, Molina.
State, you may proceed.
thank you, Judge. Dr. Molina, can you please just, I guess, well, one, how long have you been a medical examiner?
I've been a medical examiner
she's in.
for approximately 22 years.
And hence experience, so can we, you just briefly tell the jury about some of the training and education you had to go through and some of the training experience that you had to go through to become a medical examiner?
I attended and graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a degree in mathematics. I then attended and graduated from the University of Texas Health Science Center Medical School here in San Antonio. I completed my internship in family medicine at the University of Arkansas. I then returned to San Antonio to complete my training in anatomic, clinical, and forensic pathology. And I'm board certified by the American Board of Pathology in anatomic, clinical, and forensic pathology.
And as you said, you've been a medical examiner for 22 years. Has that been all in Bexar County, Texas, or has it been other places?
All in Bexar County.
And I'm going to go ahead and ask you why you came here today. Are you familiar with a case 2017-0941?
Yes.
And did you review the materials associated with that case number?
Yes.
And reviewing those materials, is there an individual that an autopsy report was generated on for a Mark Anthony Salvador?
Yes.
And was that performed on April 24th, 2017?
Yes.
You got to
And can you just tell the jury in general what an autopsy entails?
Well, an autopsy performed by a medical examiner is performed to determine cause and manner of death. In essence, an autopsy is looking at a body, is assessing the circumstances of how the person came to be deceased. It's performing a post-mortem examination. That means looking at the outside of the body, looking at the inside of the body, the individual organs, performing laboratory testing or any other testing that's necessary, and taking that information to determine a cause and a manner of death.
Thank you. And was an autopsy performed on this Mark Anthony Salvador on that day?
Yes.
And after reviewing the materials associated with this case, you come to the conclusion of the manner of the death of Mr. Salvador?
Yes.
And what was that result, the findings?
That he died as a result of a gunshot wound, and it was a homicide.
Thank you. And I'm going to show you what's been marked State Exhibit number 41 through 57, and ask you if you're familiar with those photos.
Yes, I am familiar with them.
Thank you. And are these photos from the medical examiner's office?
Yes.
And are they of Mark Anthony Salvador?
They're of the examination, yes. Not all of them are of the deceased.
I guess related to the autopsy and the materials with Mark Anthony Salvador.
Yes.
Thank you. The state offers State Exhibit number 41 through 57. I have attended to the minutes prior to Ms. Melinda, Dr. Melinda taking the stand, Your Honor, and I don't believe there's any objection.
No objections.
State's exhibits numbers 41 through 57 is admitted without objection.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes. And Dr. Molina, if you need to step down because that screen isn't working to point out things, you're more than welcome to step down.
Thank you.
And State, I think that light is shining in everyone's eye.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put up State Exhibit number 41. Can you describe to the jury what we see here?
Medical examiners are tasked by law in the state of Texas to investigate certain types of deaths. When a death falls under our jurisdiction, that means we take possession of the body. We have investigators who work for our office, so they're independent investigators who will go to a scene and document the scene, get information from the scene, and take possession of the body. When that happens, the body is placed into a transport pouch or a transport bag, and it is sealed at the scene so that the body can't be tampered with prior to it coming to our office, where we break the seal for our examination. I go into that explanation because the photo you're seeing here is the receipt of that body transport pouch, that body bag that contains the decedent, and you can see the yellow seal on that zipper indicating it was sealed at the scene. It stayed sealed until it arrived at our office.
And I see on this that it reads, it has some numbers listed on there, and this number seems to match very closely to the number I called out earlier. However, I called out 2017-0941. How does that number correlate with these numbers?
So each case that is investigated by our office is assigned a unique case number. In this particular case, that unique number is 2017-0941. Our placards, as you can see, the black placard that's on the bag, as well as the listing of the bag, we tend to refer to cases by simply the last two numbers of the year, followed by the case number. As you can see, there's not enough room on our placard to put the full four-number year, so we just use the last two numbers. So this would be 2017, case 0941.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what's marked State Exhibit number 42. And can you please tell the jury what we're looking at here?
This is what we call the identification photograph. Every case, again, that comes through our office gets one of these. This, again, has that placard of 2017-0941 with a photograph of the decedent's face. 0 through our office gets one of these. This, again, has that placard of 2017-0941 with a photograph of the decedent's face, so that we know that this decedent is the decedent that was autopsied, and that all of the case information from this case number, again 0941, is associated with this decedent.
And on this particular picture, do you see any injuries on the deceased body?
Yes.
And where are those injuries located at?
So we can see some abrasions or scrapes just above the right eyebrow. Correct.
Okay.
We also see one just above the middle of the left eyebrow. Correct. We also see a contusion or a bruise on the upper lip on the right side towards the middle. Correct. And we also see some kind of scattered other abrasions on the cheeks and on the chin, what would describe as like punctate, small, kind of round.
Thank you. I'll show you what's marked State Exhibit number 43. And when Mr. Salvador came to the ME's office, did he come in this blue, I guess people call body bags?
Yes.
I guess a layman's term. And then I see the person's in clothing. Is this how you receive them at the ME's office?
Yes, so again, our investigators take possession of the body at the scene exactly as is. So anything that the decedent's wearing, maybe there's a purse or a wallet, all of that is brought into our office, sealed into the body bag. We then open that bag, break that seal, and open the bag at our office, and we take photographs documenting exactly how the body is received. So that's any clothing, the body hasn't been cleaned or manipulated in any way.
And I see that there's some bags on his hands. Why is that?
So at the scene, paper bags were placed over the hands by our investigator just to preserve any evidence that may be in or on the hands.
State Exhibit number 44, I believe, is sort of the same thing from 43, how he arrived at the ME's office. Is that correct, Dr. Miller?
Correct. We're just trying to show the whole body. So the first picture was the upper half, and this is the lower half, so we can see the whole body.
And I guess I do, is there any injuries that you can notate on this photo?
Yeah, in this photo, we see an abrasion or a scratch on the left knee.
Right there, Doctor?
Yes.
Thank you. State Exhibit number 45. Can you please tell the jury what you see here?
So once the body is received, we then disrobe the body so we can take a good look at the outer surfaces, and we'll clean the body to see, again, a good look at the outer surfaces. We're trying to find out why people died, so we're looking for signs of trauma, signs of natural disease. So this photograph is taken after the body's been disrobed and cleaned. So now we can see nicely those abrasions or scratches that we saw previously just above the right eyebrow. We can also see that contusion that we talked about, or bruise on the upper lip, that small abrasion, the small kind of punctate abrasions on the chin. And we see some small contusion or bruises of the nose as well.
Thank y'all for the super chat.
I think I didn't have exactly where are you going?
Right down.
Okay, thank you. And I think the jury probably could see you from there, but just for the co-counsels. Right.
Correct.
Okay. State Exhibit number 46.
So again, this is after cleaning, and we can see kind of better some of those injuries we talked about before. There's the abrasion above the left eyebrow, or the scratch. Right, and there is now we can see a larger abrasion or scratch of the left forehead at the hairline. Correct.
And in particular, is that a straight line, or what? How is that?
It's irregular.
Okay. I'll show you what sparked State Exhibit number 47. Let me pick this up there. Fuzzy to me.
So
That's what I.
We need to move out the room to see what's being shown to the witness. You made it so.
Oh,
Thank you,
Your Honor.
finally.
I'm fine.
I'll put it back on this because I was
Okay.
like, it's upside. It was upside down. I had it upside down. I apologize. I'm going to show you what sparked State Exhibit number 47, which was upside down previously, but now is right side down. What are we looking at here?
So what we see here is we're looking at the left side of the neck. So if you can kind of see, there's a little bit of the ear showing to one side. That's where the head is. And then the ruler that you see is over the shoulder for your orientation. And then along the left neck, what we're seeing here is we're seeing some kind of faint bruising or contusion above the ruler around the 14 centimeter, right in there. And then back below the ear, there's also another abrasion or scratch.
Okay. Oh, sure. Now, all of these injuries, I guess what I want to ask is, were these injuries healing, or, I mean, can you tell by the pictures if they were...
Objection 702, Your Honor. If that opinion is going to be elicited, I'd like to avoid our witness.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer the question. I'm sorry, ask your question.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think it was a bad question anyway, so I'm going to move on. State Exhibit number 48. What is this a picture of?
So this is a photograph of the left shoulder area, so the left upper arm right at the shoulder. And what we see here is a gunshot wound of entrance.
And State Exhibit number 49.
This is a close-up of the wound after it's been cleaned, and you can see the defect and the kind of surrounding abrasion or scratch for where the projectile entered the body.
And this is an entrance wound or an exit wound?
This, I believe, is of the entry wound, but...
Okay.
Yes, that's the entry wound.
Okay. State Exhibit number 50.
This
What is that a picture of?
Sorry. This is a photograph of the right back, so you can see that the deceased has been kind of rolled up onto his side.
We can't
and we
see
see
it,
a
but they're not
defect in the
showing us.
right back.
Probably best
That
for
is a
YouTube,
gunshot
though.
exit wound.
And State Exhibit number 51.
That is a close-up of the, or closer photograph of the exit wound.
And State Exhibit number 52.
This is a photograph of the left forearm, and we can see some contusions or bruises of the left forearm sort of above the identification band that you see.
And State Exhibit number 53.
This is a photograph of the hand showing some abrasions or scratches and a contusion or bruise at the base of the thumb.
State Exhibit number 54.
This is a photograph of the right elbow area showing some abrasions or scratches kind of on either side of the forearm at the elbow.
State Exhibit number 55.
This is a photograph of the right forearm kind of wrist area showing another abrasion or scratch sort of right along in the middle of the wrist.
And State Exhibit number 56, which I believe you testified to earlier in another photo.
Correct. This is the abrasion or scratch of the left knee.
And then State Exhibit number 57. What was this?
On the filter paper here. You can see kind of a very small yellow ring. This material was present on the body and collected at the time of the examination.
Thank you. Now, with the gunshot wound that you indicated on the photos, there was an entrance wound and an exit wound. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's tough.
If that bullet entered with at that entrance wound and exit out that exit wound, is there any possibility of vital organs being hit?
Yes.
Can you just describe to the jury what possible organs could be hit?
Well, from where the entry wound is in the left shoulder and where the exit wound is on the right back, the bullet would have to go through the chest, which would mean the possibility of hitting the lungs, so the left lung, the right lung, the heart. There's major vascular structures such as the aorta that course in that area, as well as the spine. So any or all of those could be hit by a bullet going through.
And in this particular case, were any of those organs hit?
Yes.
And your determination and findings is that this bullet or gunshot wound caused the death of Mr. Mark Anthony Sullivan?
Yes.
And do y'all do a toxicology of the victim's substance, I guess possible substance in his system?
Yes.
And in this particular case, did y'all perform that toxicology?
Yes.
And was there any substance detected in this toxicology report?
No.
And which particular substances do y'all test for?
So we test for hundreds of different drugs and medications. We look for things like ethanol, which is drinking alcohol. We look for over-the-counter medications like Tylenol, aspirin, Benadryl. We look for prescription medications, antidepressants, blood pressure medicines. And we look for illicit drugs, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine. So it's a number of different screens that we use to look for all of these drugs. But again, it's hundreds. It's drugs that can cause death.
And you did, none of those substances were detected, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you all
So
test?
it wasn't on drugs. That's
Well,
good.
let me ask you this. In the victim's mouth, there seemed to be a green substance. Is that indicated?
Yes.
And that, I would like to ask then, did y'all test for marijuana levels in his system?
No.
And why is that?
We do not routinely test for marijuana or its drugs in decedents, in dead people. The reason being is we are unable to actually interpret what those results mean. When someone dies,
Interesting.
if they've been exposed to marijuana for some time prior to death, and depending on the exposure, that can be up to a
I
month
did not
prior
know
to
that.
death, we can still find that marijuana. Therefore, if we test for it, we don't know what it means. I can't say it's in someone's blood when they die. I just know there was this exposure, so we do not routinely test for it.
Interesting.
And I know that you stated
you
earlier
guys
that
know
there was
that?
an entrance and an exit wound, so this might be a dumb question, but I'd like to ask it. Was there any type of bullet or projectile found in the victim's body?
At the autopsy, no.
Thank you. We'll pass the witness at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Wade. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Just a few questions. When you received the body, obviously he had clothes on and there were items that had been bagged in the body bag with him, right? And if you don't recall, please refer to your report.
I mean, yes, he had clothes on, that I recall. I'm just seeing if anything was with him that had been bagged.
You found toothpaste and deodorant?
That was in his pockets.
In his pockets?
Correct, it was in the pockets of the clothing.
Okay. And you also noted a smudgy gray material on his hands. Was that fingerprint dust, or did you not know what that was?
It wasn't known at the time what that was, so a sample was taken.
Okay. Was there any results of that you know of, or?
So we don't test for evidence. We collect evidence and submit it to the police, and then they can decide if they want it tested. So we sample it and we release it to the investigating law enforcement agency, and they can decide. But also to address your other question, I apologize, fingerprints wouldn't have been done till after the exam, so it wouldn't have been from us.
Okay, and it wouldn't have been fingerprint dust?
It should not have been.
Okay, understood. You indicated that because there was a clean entrance and exit wound, that no fragments of the bullet were recovered, right?
Correct.
Was there any other foreign material in the wound or the path of the wound, like car glass or dirt or anything else that you all noted?
No.
Okay, that can sometimes happen, right? Someone shot in close proximity to a window and shot through the window. There might be particulates from the window in the wound, right?
That can happen, yes.
Okay. And you noted, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that there wasn't any tattooing or powder burn on the entrance wound?
Correct, that was noted.
Okay, so help me understand this. Tattooing and powder burn occur if the gunshot occurs too close to the body, right?
Not necessarily too close, but I think what you're saying. Right. So we look for powder tattooing, powder burns, kind of all of these soot, and it helps us to decide range of fire, how far away the firearm was when it was discharged. And those markings, those powder burns, will only occur at what we call close range, meaning the firearm has to be relatively close to the decedent when it's sustained. If you get outside of that range, we don't see those markings anymore.
So just to get a sense of what close range would be, you could still be fairly close to someone and not deposit soot or tattooing, but generally, in your mind, how many feet is close range?
So assuming a generic handgun, close range is usually about 2 to 3 feet. So if the muzzle of the firearm is more than 2 to 3 feet away, we don't typically see those markings.
Understood.
Interesting.
You
Well, he was shot
identified
through the
several
glass.
contusions and scrapes on the body that weren't associated with the gunshot wound, right?
Correct.
But you're not able to say how those contusions and scrapes got there.
Correct.
They could have been something that occurred relatively, well, I mean, they could have happened that same day, but earlier in the day. It could have happened at the time of death. It could have happened right after the time of death. And it would probably have manifested the same way or roughly thereabout.
Correct.
Okay. You talked about toxicology, and I wanted to get a better understanding of this. You said that you all test for hundreds of different substances, some legal, some illegal, all across the board, right?
Correct.
And then there's a toxicology report that's delivered to you that you use in making your ultimate findings about this, right?
Correct.
And so in that report, you note that nothing was detected among cocaine, opiates as a class, benzodiazepines as a class, fentanyl, oxycodone, and oxymorphone, right?
As some of the tests listed, yes.
Okay, so you're saying that this report is incomplete?
No, I'm just saying there's three other tests that were run.
I'm so sorry. That's right. Alkaline, alcohols, and acid neutral?
Correct.
Okay. What's alkaline?
So alkaline drug screens for hundreds of different drugs. These are drugs that are alkaline at their usual pH. So basically, it's a property of the drug that tells us on which screen it would show up.
Okay. So it's a very big fishing net, basically.
Yes.
Okay. And if you got some kind of a hit on that screen, it would be a good prompt to do additional toxicology work to see which of those many alkaline chemicals it could be, right?
So actually, our alkaline screens or our screening tests will actually tell us what drug it is. These tests are done on instrumentation that's based on the properties of the drug, right? So it depends on how large the drug is and how volatile the drug is, how it responds at different temperatures, right? So on this screen, for instance, for example, on an alkaline screen, the screen might say there's methamphetamine present. But yes, in our line of work, if a screen shows that methamphetamine is present, we will then do another test, we call it a confirmatory test, to confirm that yes, indeed, this is methamphetamine, and we will quantitate it, meaning how much of it is there. But if nothing's on our screen, there's nothing to confirm.
Are synthetic cannabinoids going to fall under the general classification of an alkaline?
No.
What about PCP?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't test for cannabis. You testified to that earlier, marijuana.
Correct.
Okay. And you explained the reason for that is that marijuana can linger in a person's system for a very long time period after they smoke.
Potentially, yes.
And so, I mean, from the true scientific inquiry as to how a person died, knowing that they may have smoked marijuana sometime in the past 30, 45, 60 days probably doesn't help you make a determination, so that's a waste of time.
It doesn't help us make a determination, so we don't use it.
But it could be circumstantially relevant. I mean, especially in a homicide case, the fact that someone might be intoxicated acutely on anything might be significant, even if that intoxicant wouldn't have made them sick or caused an organ to fail or otherwise killed them, right?
Slowly building their defense.
Intoxication can be important, but I think what you're referring to is actually impairment, and we can't testify to that. So I can only tell you when things are present, and it would be unfair for me to tell you that marijuana is present at the time someone died when I don't know. I just know they've been exposed to it. However, yes, if it's helpful to an investigation, we are able to order it if requested.
Was it ever requested of?
Not that's indicated, and it wasn't ordered.
Okay. And so, basically, if someone was acutely impaired by intoxication on something that wasn't screened, that's just something we can't know one way or the other.
We actually can't ever testify to impairment when someone is dead. Impairment is a clinical diagnosis. So the only thing I would ever be able to testify to anyway would be, hypothetically, again, let's take our methamphetamine, that methamphetamine is present. What it's doing to that individual, to that body, any impairment it may be causing, I cannot testify to when the patient is dead. So really, I can only tell you if something is there or not, which is, again, why we don't test for marijuana, because I can't even tell you if it's there or not if I do the test.
Well, but, okay, so we know, like, for example, in an alcohol case, 0.08 is a legal limit in Texas for alcohol, if you're aware.
Yes, so in Texas, there is a legal impairment limit.
Right. And there's been significant medical research on what certain blood alcohol levels correlate to in terms of expected signs of impairment, right?
Correct.
So while you wouldn't be able to say that a person with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit was necessarily impaired, they could be a chronic alcoholic and they present, you would be generally able to say that that's a very high level, and that studies have shown that that does often impair cognitive functioning, right?
So,
I'm just going to object to relevance.
What is the relevancy?
Well, Your Honor, the relevance would be, may I proffer the relevance at the bench?
Sure.
Okay, they're approaching. We'll give them a second. Let me see how much we got left with the ME. Okay, not much time. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit.
Do you know the answer? I mean, if you know about police investigation.
I know about impairments versus intoxication, and I know what our toxicology.
There we go.
So, Dr. Molina, you would agree that from an investigative standpoint, it would be important for police to know, if they could, whether it is possible that someone is impaired, even if you can't scientifically say that they were impaired, right?
Objection, speculation.
If you know.
Do you know the answer?
It's a fair question.
I mean, if you know about police investigation.
I know about impairment versus intoxication, and I know what our toxicology means. So understanding effects of certain drugs that are present, yes, that can be helpful, but we also have to know whether or not they're present.
Well, okay.
That's all, Mr. Brown.
Let's talk about what you mentioned earlier. You did not test for synthetic cannabinoids.
Correct.
You are aware that sometimes synthetic cannabinoids are sprayed onto material that looks like marijuana or sprayed onto marijuana itself, right, as a common form of ingestion?
So yes, I am aware, usually it's not ingestion, but yes, I am aware that is a route. Usually it's smoked.
Usually smoked. I apologize. So that's a potential lookalike to a marijuana sample.
Somewhat, yes. They are actually slightly different in how, but somewhat, yes.
Okay. And that was not tested for?
Correct.
And you are aware of the pharmacology of some of the synthetic cannabinoids that are commonly traded on the street, some of which are legal, some of which are illegal, right?
Yes.
And that pharmacology can include behavioral changes to a person, correct?
Correct.
And that would be relevant to know in a homicide investigation.
Objection, speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Okay. They weren't tested for.
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Dang.
Did you do the gunshot residue
Come on, defense.
testing? Or I guess the better way of asking that, because I don't think you did. I withdraw that remark, I'm sorry. So when you received the body, there were bags on the hands, correct?
Correct.
And swabbing had already been done prior to its arrival at the medical examiner's office, correct?
I will need to review the report.
That would be fine.
Yes, if you're talking about GSR swabs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So your office doesn't have anything to do with the GSR aspect of that afterwards. The reason the hands are bagged has nothing to do with the GSR, correct?
Correct.
You bag the hands to determine, to prevent other evidence that might be on the hands unrelated to GSR from falling off during transport so that you can examine it, right?
Yes, with the caveat that there are some gunshot residues that are of interest to us, and those aren't the ones necessarily you're swabbing for. That's usually done for different reasons. But sometimes, depending on how firearms are held or how they're discharged, marks can be left on the hands, and we're protecting those. Similar to the discussion we had about those powder burns that can be on a wound, marks can be left on the hands as well. But that would be something we would see and we would note at autopsy versus the chemical testing of GSR testing that's done.
Okay, understood. But also relevant on a hand in a homicide investigation would be to look and see, if, for example, if there are fingernail scrapings, like if somebody else's skin is underneath their fingernails.
Well, correct. We would take fingernail samples. It's not something we would see, but we can take fingernail samples if there was an altercation, or maybe there's hair or fibers on the hands, things you don't want to have lost or dislodged during transport.
And you'd want to know that because it might help you see whether or not there's been a struggle.
So that would be part of evidence collection. So, finding a hair in someone's hand might not affect, our investigation, but law enforcement may be interested in that. So we collect it for law enforcement.
So that's a parallel function that you have. I mean, your primary function is to determine how did this man die. But you know that because it's a homicide investigation that brought this body to you, that you have a responsibility to make sure that you're not destroying evidence, that you're preserving the things that might become relevant for law enforcement. That's something that you have to look out for, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll pass the list.
No further questions, John.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Vice Chair.
May I control Council's moment?
I'm sorry.
Medical examiner knows what she's doing. We're gonna skip ahead. Let's see. Do they ask her no questions? Oh, no, that's it. All right. They got the ME out of there. What do y'all think about that report? Again, starting to paint the picture and see where the defense is going with this. They want to find out if he was smoking marijuana. The prosecution tried to put significance on the fact that he had marijuana in his mouth. Some eyewitnesses say they saw marijuana stuffed in his mouth, but I don't see anyone that can verify that story. So it's interesting to see. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. I'm gonna read some of these super chats and then I'm gonna let y'all get up out of here. Shout out to the gang and thank you to over 500 of y'all that liked the video. Oh my gosh. We've got Kara Hampton in here with the 2-bomb. She says sneak peek. I see you over there. And then my guy Les Cleaver is in the building. He says I'm back to work. All of you, please have a safe and wonderful weekend. Be loved, be strong, and be blessed. Shout out to my guy Les Cleaver in here. Thank y'all for sticking around. Thank y'all for staying here with us and watching the video. Make sure if you haven't yet, like the video on your way out, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. Y'all know we're not taking any breaks. We'll be posting videos over the weekend. We'll be back here on Monday to finish up the rest of this day 4, and then we'll get into day 5 on Monday. Hope y'all have a great afternoon. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We go. Peace.